Wow. Lucas stall out them pint bottles out granny crib. I poured so much I ain't wanna live. Told money then, shit we in the wind. I was in the hood when I clipped the bin. Since a young nigga I've been ready. Went glass house on every Chevy. In this game I tried plenty settings. It's all or nothing. Hot niggas been. Got sucker niggas, keep suckers with them. One of the reasons I ain't fucking with them. Trish Tech and some more than her. Yeah, she couldn't even afford a winner. I'm open late, don't need a scale. And it's always over, sneak wishing well. I double down, slick shit to spell. Shawty know I don't kiss and tell. I'm faded, 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 faded. I'm faded, 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 faded. And I'm faded, 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 faded. I'm faded, 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 faded. I'm a saint, but I sin. I checked in the game, and when I left, she loving me again. I let her cry out the bins, and they say time heal. Mine still felt like it was yesterday. I was moving fast, probably too fast to even catch the play. Spent the night, she pack a bag, right to me, just getting gas. Cover bag, I want it bad. I'ma touch it first. Eat it last, it's temporary. Holly damn emotion said it's temporary. My pain deeper than the ocean. Temporary feelings mixed with temporary pleasures. All these temporary moments and these temporary treasures. Temporary circumstances to temporary measures. Temporary friends and even temporary schedules. Temporary smiles and temporary goals. Temporary women sliding on temporary poles. Temporary comments and temporary trolls. I just pray that God bless me. Ain't no temporary souls. I'm a saint, but I sin. I checked in the game, and when I left, she loving me again. I let her cry out the bins, and they say time heal. Mine still felt like it was yesterday. I was moving fast, probably too fast to even catch the play. Spent the night, she pack a bag, right to me, just getting gas. Cover bag, I want it bad. I'ma touch it first. Eat it last, it's temporary. Holly damn emotion said it's temporary. My pain deeper than the ocean. What we doing, chat? What we doing, chat? Double tap the screen, shut a live out. Hold on, chat. Double tap the screen, shut a live out, man. We finna get into it. Where's my tag at, man?
Welcome to the greatest damn show on YouTube. Welcome to the greatest damn show on YouTube.
Oh, man. Man, doing tonight, chat. What we doing tonight, chat? Double tap screen, shut a live out, man. Y'all know what we doing tonight. They saying Candace Owens just exposed all the Erika Kirks family ties and more. I want to know what's next and what really happened, chat, man. Y'all double tap the screen, shut a live out. Why is it so loud in the headphones, chat? Y'all double tap the screen, shut a live out. We finna get into it. OGO Sammy, what it do? Mama Money, what it do? Lala, what it do? Top Cat, I see you. I need everybody to hit the like button. We finna break down, man. It's going viral right now over there on X. They saying that this might be Candace's biggest episode yet. So we finna get into it, chat. We ain't gonna waste no time. See what the hell is going on.
Okay, you guys, there is a very strange thing happening right now where a young woman with absolutely zero professional qualifications has been inserted at the top of a charity organization that pulled in over $250 million last year. And the media is telling you that you have no right to know or to ask anything about her. The argument being made is that her husband was murdered, therefore she has a right to assume the position. And despite the fact that Turning Point USA is a literal charity, and therefore it's not even have to pay tax on that $250 million+ or pay tax on the alleged future billions that it's due to rake in thanks to a deal with a man named Pierre, these talking heads are claiming that the public simply wanting to ensure.
I'm not gonna lie, Chad. A tax-free $250 million is crazy. That's like the Church of Scientology type money, bro.
the person who is running that organization is, I don't know, at a bare minimum, moderately honest about who she says she is, no, that inquiry makes you a monster. So I guess your job is to head to work 9 to 5, receive a flurry of unsolicited emails and text messages reminding you that Charlie Kirk, the innocent man that you watched be executed in broad daylight live, you're to be reminded that that was her Charlie. My Charlie needs your help. Here's how you can give us your 401k and house. The emails have been landing into your inbox at an alarming rate, saying things like that. There's virtually nothing that the feds are telling us about his murder that makes any objective sense. But if you're feeling weird about any of that, you're reminded constantly that she is a grieving widow. She's a grieving widow. That sentence, in my opinion, is this year's Trust the Science. She's a grieving widow. The mainstream media, of course, is
Chat, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear the Candace?
Zionist implied, are effectively telling you to roll up your sleeves and get the vaccine again, dopes. Tyler Robinson did it. Erika Kirk is grieving. Please allow her to do so in the privacy of the billion-dollar charity that she took over.
Can y'all hear me? Chat, press 1 if y'all can hear me. You said, okay, that's better now. Can you hear me? And can y'all still hear Candace?
Remember when they did the 6 feet social distancing thing? They cast that spell. Let your granddad die alone in the hospital. If you desire to see your grandma this Thanksgiving, it's because you're a demon from the gates of hell. Yeah. Resist your human instincts. Obey the government. It's the same kind of messaging, the same kind of emotional manipulation, but it's a new year. Still have questions or concerns about who Erika Kirk is and why she seems to have lied many times on record? Well, you're Satan, and I'm sorry that you are. And also, I would like to remind you that you are destroying Charlie's legacy. Now, it is very important that I remind you, we haven't even said anything yet. A 2-minute trailer resulted in one of the most aggressive preemptive PR strikes that I have ever seen. They posted photos of my manager's infant daughter, my makeup artist, my family members. Lots of voicemail from my producer. Okay, well, this was initially supposed to be just 3 episodes, but now I'm thinking about a season 2 and a season 3. Because if you haven't quite figured me out yet, or thought through how we got here, I don't like it when innocent people are targeted and attacked and, on rare occasions, shot in the neck in broad daylight. No one blinked when entire investigative series and books were written about Hillary Clinton, Michelle Obama, Meghan Markle, because they're public figures. I've effectively endured 10 years in politics with nonstop exposés and investigations into my background, but we're told Erika is somehow untouchable. Let me tell you something. The truth does not require a multi-million-dollar PR campaign. It also does not fear inspection. So welcome to Bride of Charlie.
Bride of Charlie is crazy.
Where should we begin in this story? I think maybe with just a blanket statement. Something is not right with Erika Kirk. And despite a most aggressive influence campaign, which at one point even included a signed letter from the Secretary of Treasury assuring us that Turning Point is above board, amazing organization, and despite, in addition to that, a flurry of homosexual men making over dramatic videos about sheer evil, no, not mass murdering children, sheer evil, investigating someone at the helm of a billion-dollar company. Despite all of that, the public remains unconvinced that she is simply a grieving widow, because she isn't simply a grieving widow. She's also the CEO and chairman of an organization. In fact, during our preparation for this series, an investigative journalist named Elizabeth Lane went viral on X because what she authored about Erika was brilliant. It just was objectively brilliant. It gave voice to what millions of people worldwide were feeling, but didn't exactly know how to express. And I'm going to read you her words in their entirety because
You said, I wonder how her husband feels about her cyber slurping Charlie. Man, I don't think he feels any kind of way. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's looking kind of like she might wear the pants over there. She might just wear the pants.
I think it's very important, okay? Elizabeth Lane wrote, I'm going to be blunt. I have reached the point where I find Erika Kirk to be deeply disturbing, not because of rumors or gossip, but because of consistent, observable patterns of behavior. To be clear, everything I say in this post is my opinion. I am not claiming this is a fact. I am saying this is what I think Erika Kirk is. I come from the world of acting and modeling. I have spent years around social climbers, opportunists, image curators, and people who treat relationships like ladders. That is why I left that world. Most of these people are shallow and harmless. A few are dangerous. Erika falls into the latter category not because she is just ambitious, but because of how calculated and performative her ambition appears to be. I believe she may be a psychopath. What stands out immediately is the reaction that she provokes in other people, which is very common with psychopaths. Across the board, including people who support her publicly, the private reaction is the same. It's, I can't watch her. It's not a criticism, it's just a physical discomfort. People turn off interviews because the presentation feels artificial to the point of being unbearable. Let me explain. That kind of response does not happen accidentally and does not happen often. Research in psychology shows that humans are highly sensitive to emotional incongruence, mismatches between a facial expression, tone, and content. When the effect appears simulated rather than genuine, the brain registers it as a threat. This activates discomfort and avoidance, even if the person cannot consciously explain why. So many of us felt this way, but we could not explain why we could not watch her. Studies on psychopathy, particularly those building on the work of psychologists like Robert Hare, describe traits such as a rehearsed emotional display and shallow affect. These traits can create what observers experience as an uncanny interpersonal dynamic. The discomfort arises, and people want to shut it off because most people rarely encounter extreme affective mimicry in everyday life. So the brain struggles to categorize what it is detecting. Erika is attractive enough, and she had every tool in her possession to sell this organically, except for one thing: emotion. The entire story of what happened could have helped her sell this fully. She really would have been the last person on earth to be a suspect if not for the FBI's terrible mistakes, Turning Point USA's lies, and her
What it do,
very
Kai?
fake performance.
What it do,
Plenty of
Samora?
attractive, ambitious women move through
What's up,
media spaces
Shell?
without triggering that response, even though we know what they are. This is about something else, an extreme disconnect between presentation that she puts out and the perceived authenticity. Erika is not the archetype of a model actress seeking money and fame and then settling into a quiet life with a wealthy, good looking husband. She is the wolf type who wants to be in the place of that husband. She is not born for a supporting role. She's a decision maker. She appears to pursue proximity to power, moving fluidly between television, nonprofits, branding opportunities, and ideological spaces that maximize her exposure. Her previous partners are guys that women like her would date: muscular, jacked, good looking, even though they are not people with huge potential. They are all somewhat established. They are good stepping stones until the right person shows up. Now, looking at her
Mm.
previous partners, I would say that Charlie probably was not her type visually, but he was exactly what she was looking for in a man: potential to be a great power. What Erika was looking for is the same thing Hillary Clinton was looking for when she met Bill. She recognized that Bill Clinton was her ticket to power, the power that she could control, and she was right. She realized that she could create a great brand out of him and herself, and they still are a brand: the Clintons. No one in this world can say that those two love each other. They are a brand that works. That's why she's sticking around despite Epstein and Lewinsky. Also, if you think Bill is the decision maker there, you must have never been in close proximity to the Clintons. She moves the game. She is the decision maker. Erika saw a brand with Charlie. She also saw that Charlie could one day become president of the United States if he wanted to. Charlie had the ear of the most powerful segment of any society: students. He was going to be a very important player in politics, and she was not missing that ride. What is striking is how completely her public identity reshapes itself after that relationship begins. The aesthetic, the tone, the values, the presentation all change. Overnight, the persona shifts into the role that best suits Charlie's world: devoted Christian, modest, a supportive housewife. That kind of rapid adaptation is quite impressive for a usual person, but not for a psychopath because they do it all the time. In my head, the story goes like this. For a moment, it works. She becomes the wife of a rising political figure with access to donors, institutions, and national platforms. At that point, the ceiling isn't social media influence, it's empire building, foundations, global reach, a legacy, a brand: the Kirks. It's obvious that Charlie listens to her, whether it's about donors or the trajectory of Turning Point USA. The most influential figure in any mentally healthy man's life is going to be his wife. She's going to be the biggest influence, and that is just how it is. That is why you need to pick your partner wisely. and everything was going well until Charlie began making decisions based on conscience rather than expansion and money. He turns down money. He refuses to play dirty politics. I am assuming someone like Erika, who married into this because she had a vision for this brand, would not be very happy about that. The life she appears to have signed up for, the power couple, expanding influence, historical relevance, was collapsing into something else entirely. Domesticity, housewife, kids, and now Charlie refusing to accept the money that can make him a global power. A supporting role instead of center stage is not her thing. Her husband died a few days ago, and she walks onto the stage as if she was born there.
Did the
Comes
volume
naturally
get
to her. She
louder?
knows it and she wants it. Just days after her husband's death, she was already laying out ambitious plans for the company over Zoom. It's obvious she was always deeply involved in the business and knew exactly where to pick up when her turn came. What people struggle to watch, what makes the screen unbearable, is not grief. It's the absence of emotional continuity. Performances can be learned. Trust me, as a former actress, I can speak to that. But emotion cannot be improvised or mimicked if you've never experienced it. That's why I think we are dealing with a psychopath who has never really experienced these emotions and does not know how to play them. And audiences feel it instantly. It's fake. Again, this is just my opinion. It's a good place to start. It is a good place to start because there are a lot of things that Elizabeth said there that I think I am going to be able to prove, adapting her personality to suit the people that she meets, the lies that she tells. I've done a lot of work here speaking to ex-boyfriends, speaking to old classmates. I really wanted to get a sense of who Erika was. And also, in a word, yes, I concur. There is something about her. I don't know any single personality in the media or politics but has had the same effect that Erika has had on people worldwide. She's a rare bird, okay? She has actually managed to unify the left and the right on a single perspective. Think about that, how amazing that is. Say what you will about Hillary Clinton, but she had a true following on the left, right? It was a bloody match back in 2016. Now, beyond Erika, what Elizabeth is diving into here is psychology, right? She's guessing and she's speaking about psychology, a social science that was created, to be very clear, by German mystical Jews, right? They believed in mystical Judaism. They were practicing the occult. Now, if you are a regular viewer of this show, you know that I have sort of obsessed myself with this history over the past 2 years, the books that we read in book club, all about the very dark history of modern psychology and its direct relationship to child abuse, trauma-based mind control. That's what the book, The Assault on Truth, lays out. This person wasn't just an author that was guessing when he wrote this book. He was in control of the Sigmund Freud archives and lost his entire career just trying to ring the alarm on what these scientists knew. He explains that they abuse children with the goal of transforming them into future psychopaths that can be controlled. That is the science that was brought here to America via Operation Paperclip. What began as Project Monarch in Germany ultimately became MK Ultra in America. The Manson murders, the 60s, all of that was our government, CIA gone wild after the assassination of JFK. For drugging and experimenting upon citizens with the explicit goal of controlling minds, social engineering, making people get into a formation. These are indisputable and historical facts. This brought forth the dawn of serial killers in America, too many of them with curious ties to the military. Yeah, MK Ultra was a military-grade program. Truthfully, behind every unthinkable crime is a deranged psychologist and a prescription cabinet. If you think that MK Ultra ever stopped, I hope that the Epstein files and the stunning defense of the Epstein files from our quote-unquote elites helped to shatter that illusion for you. We discussed MK Ultra during the Kamala Chronicles. Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, is suing me for merely mentioning MK Ultra on Tim Dillon's show. How bizarre. Why is the president of France, who himself is a victim of minor sex abuse, so concerned about that conversation being opened up? Independent study into Sigmund Freud and what he and his colleagues were doing in Vienna is crucial for you to understand what is going on in this world and the way that the world works, okay? Now, pivoting back to Erika and her story, I will tell you my personal opinion and my experience with her. What alarms me about Erika isn't so much the fact that she lies, which we will prove to you over and over again, but it's also the fact that I don't know that she's aware that she's lying. It's almost as though she doesn't remember. Like the version that she's telling us today or yesterday was just recently downloaded into her mind, and she therefore thinks it's true, like a faulty memory or something. I'm saying that I'm not sure if she's fully aware that she's lying, because it's like some of the lies are so stupid. She's just sort of going. I want you to also know, by the way, of course, we reached out ahead of this episode. We reached out to her specifically with just 4 questions pertaining to past
Here we
statements
go.
that she's made that do not appear to align with the reality of what we have discovered. Okay. For example, here's just one example. We are told that Erika Franzwey was raised by a strong, independent, entrepreneurial, single
Chat, hit the
mother
like
who
button.
taught her how to be a good Christian, a devout Catholic mother. Lori Franzwey, right? As an aside, that this Catholic mom, who am I to judge Catholics, but she's been married 4 times that I can see. We'll talk about that more down the line. More importantly, though, you will recall that Erika sat down for an in-person interview with the New York Times days after Charlie was publicly assassinated.
What's up,
And
Jason?
she confirmed to them that the least traumatizing part about Charlie's assassination was the prospect of her now having to raise her children alone. She wasn't traumatized by that idea because she had seen the example set for her by her mother growing up. As People magazine later echoed, quote, Erika Kirk has learned a lot from her mother, Lori Franzwey. After welcoming her daughter in November of 1988, Franzwey divorced Erika's father, Kent Franzwey, and raised her as a single mother in Scottsdale, Arizona. Lori spent nearly 2 decades working for General Electric before founding multiple companies in the network security industry, according to her LinkedIn. So you can see they're seeding the public with the idea that you can raise kids and be a single mom and also be a CEO and boss babe it. Okay. The only problem is that it's just not true. Erika was not raised by a single mother, like at all. Erika's father, Kent Franzwey, by the way, he's Kenneth Franzwey, but he goes by Kent, was always in her life. So much so that for entire years of her childhood, Kent was actually a stay-at-home dad. So almost the exact opposite thing was true at one point. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. You can actually take Erika's. Take a listen.
Hold on. I do not want to knock the stay-at-home dads. I do not. There are some who had to temporarily have to switch that role. That happened to my parents a long time ago. Granted, again, they got a divorce, so that probably falls into your bucket. But
I am an anthropologist.
But my dad was a stay-at-home dad for a few years, and I gotta say it was really sweet and really special. I was 4, but that was...
Of course, it's not an indictment of the morality. Of
No,
I'm
but if you're
talking about-
saying from the
it's
get-go,
a-
I want to be a stay-at-home...
it is a imbalance.
Dad.
It's an imbalance of nature.
So stay-at-home dad for a couple of years. She remembers it. So I would assume started at 4 for a couple of years. People don't typically remember being 1 and 2. And now he wasn't in her life. Now, to be clear, Erika was 10 years old when her parents divorced in 1998. So her father was very much a part of her early childhood, and he did not stop being involved in her teenage years either. I've spoken with classmates, past boyfriends, and people are generally bewildered as to why Erika is now publicly representing as though she does not have a relationship with Kent, the man that she claims is her father, at least. Or also something she fails to mention is that even if you removed Kent, Erika was raised with her stepfather in her home, a man named Larry Ginta. In her high school yearbook, actually, Kent is included, her father, biological father, in a collage, and so are his parents, her grandparents, Carl and Elaine. So we can reasonably assume that her father was in her life. We can also assume from that photo that Erika was exceedingly close to her stepfather too. You can bring that back up and I'll show that. But he's featured there too. You've got Larry in the photo because he has been a fixture in her life since before her parents' divorce was ever finalized. because both he and his son are also in the collage. I confirmed with classmates Larry and Lori were together since Erika's elementary school days. In other words, Erika grew up in a situation that is now termed as a bonus dad. Both her biological father and her stepfather figure were present and all living in and around the Scottsdale area. So why this little public misrepresentation? I would be super offended if I was a stay-at-home dad and then suddenly you've got someone saying, it was all alone. My mom did it all by herself. Now, you will see throughout this investigation that there are a lot of little wrinkles like this in Erika's story. The question is, what broader purpose do they serve? Because I thought about that, and I remember reading in Xavier Poussard's book, Becoming Brigitte, that it is actually an intentional strategy of deception, a strategy used by the media in creating and curating a legend about, in this case, he was talking about Brigitte, how the press would intentionally make minor edits or overlook certain dates, small adjustments rather, made over a long period of time, a date wrong here, an age miscalculation there, just ever so slightly, because minor tweaks over a long period of time aren't noticeable, even though they ultimately amount to a big lie. This is exactly what I have found to be immediately frustrating about examining Erika's life. Minor tweaks that almost look like they could be mistakes. And you go, but really? Do people make these kinds of mistakes? Let's start with her birthday. Okay, I'll give you another example here. Erika Franzfey, we are told, was born on November 20th, 1988 in Cincinnati, Ohio. Great. There's a newspaper relic announcing her birth 2 weeks later on December 6th. It tells us that she was born at Good Samaritan Hospital. Fantastic. To Kent and Lori Franzfey. Check. Amazing. By the way, just something to note about Good Samaritan Hospital, a little fun fact. That actually used to be the U.S. Marines Hospital, one that once upon a time caused a little bit of a scandal for unethically experimenting on the brains of patients. Anyway, the story goes that the U.S. Marine Hospital just up and decided to gift the hospital to the Catholic Sisters of Charity out of the goodness of their Marine hearts or something, because our military is known for that, just being really, really kind and giving up hospitals. Point is, we learned from this newspaper clipping that Erika was born on November 20th, and she maintains that birthday today. But oddly, that would be news to her parents. Kent and Lori, for whatever reason, think that Erika was born 2 days later on November 22nd.
Well, in all fairness, my mom used to get my birthday wrong all the time. My mom used to think I was born on the I'm not going to tell y'all, but 2 days before. My mom used to always think that I was born 2 days before I was, or a day. Most of the time it was the day, but every now and then it was 2 days before. She'd be like, your birthday, such and such. I'd be like, no, Mom, it's this, so in all fairness.
We know this because of their divorce filings, which took place in 1998. On that divorce initial filing, Lori, who filed, lists Erika as having been born on November 22nd, multiple times. Now, in case you're thinking, well, maybe this was a mistake, you should know that the filing done by her mother, Lori, only has 4 statements of fact. It's effectively a one-pager. One of the facts is that Kent and Lori were married on November 20th, 1995 in Marblehead, Massachusetts. So they decided to get married on what would have been Erika's 7th birthday. Okay, that's strange. I mean, at least the birthday she says she has, but this document is saying, no, she's born 2 days later. So I guess it wasn't her 7th birthday. Attached to this document, which was filed on July 20th, 1998, is another document that I can only assume was scanned in with an intention to further.
I'm just gonna be honest, Chad. When parents get to having 2, 3, 4 kids and shit, man, them birthdays get a little jumbled up. You know what I'm saying? Just being honest. Like I say, my mom used to always think I was born on a different day than I was.
Confuse people. It's a separation agreement, which is not notarized. It's not dated. So it's almost not relevant. And it completely edits the date of the marriage between Kent and Lori from November 20th, 1995 down to November 7th, 1982. A casual 13 years and 13 days wiped out, okay? Like I said, you can just ignore that because I think that document was just put in there to confuse people. Take it from me. I'm a notary, one in the state of New York, although my license is expired. You can't just skip over a notary portion of a document and just be fine with that. In fact, we decided to dig through Ohio law and other publicly available divorce documents to see what they look like, and they are legitimate. And here's a side-by-side so you can see on the right is what is scanned into their file with totally different dates. And on the left, you can see that that's what it should look like. You get it notarized, okay? But it's going to get even more absurd when we examine the divorce decree. So for the uninitiated, the first document's just the filing. I, Lori, am pursuing a divorce, and here are the facts. And now...
So Candace is a master at foreshadowing. You see how she's saying just the terminology she's using. I seen clips where she's about to drop the Erika's grandparents were like Swedish or some kind of Freemasons from abroad, you know, and they were real deep in this shit. So her foreshadowing is crazy, bro. Like just the way she uses the language to foreshadow shit. It's kind of crazy.
What comes after that is the decree or the final judgment, okay? Now, I do want to note that this was the fastest divorce in the history of divorce because she filed on July 20th, 1998. And then we have a decree on November 10th of the same year. So this is like 3 months later. Once again, the marriage date is listed, the initial marriage date between Kent and Lori, as November 20th, 1995 in Marblehead, Massachusetts. But oddly, you can see that somebody just went in and tried to edit that date by hand afterward, adjusting the wedding date down this time to 1985, not 1982, hoping, I guess, that no one would catch that. I guess the unnotarized 1982 that we saw in the initial filing was too difficult. It would have been too obvious. So this time they're attempting to do it by hand and edit the date of marriage back just 10 years, not 13 years. This is not subtle, it is not normal, and it bothers me greatly. Take it from someone who is chronically being sued. That is not how modifications work on court documents. You can't just use a pen and write something on a divorce decree. You just can't do that. People have to initial, you got to date, you got to see who saw it. This is crazy to me.
So what to do, Carlos, Tony? They're saying that they edited the marriage date 4 times, so it was from 95, 90 something, all the way back down to 82. So it was 95, then they went to 82, then they went to 85. But it went from the 22nd to the 20th down to the 7th. So this is 3 different marriage dates for one couple.
My suspicion, and again, this is just a general suspicion, is that this was done after the fact. Maybe someone had a friend down at the county clerk who was responsible for scanning those docs into the system. And they just kind of did that. Because that's not real life. That's just not real life. And once again, that has another casually added separation agreement, which is still not notarized, with an entirely different date of marriage. And the crazy part is that the separation agreement, in that separation agreement, Kent Francevey is waiving his rights to an attorney with no notary present. He just agrees that Lori's lawyer can represent him on everything. So what are we to discern from this? We are at 4 different plausible marriage dates between...
Well, sometimes people just don't care. You know, don't get me wrong now. If they were wealthy, well off, had assets, you know, maybe. Kids involved, maybe. Some men just don't give a fuck, bro. Like, they're just ready to get the fuck on. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I've seen it, Chad. Like, I've seen it. You know, like, when my parents went through their divorce, you know, like, honestly, man, my dad really didn't give too much. He was like, look, man, just take the shit. Just being honest. My dad was like, hey, take the shit, man.
Between Kent and Lori Francevey across 2 documents. I should also add that I could not find a single trace of their alleged marriage in Marblehead, Massachusetts. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, but I couldn't find it across any date. And Marblehead, I would like to note, is certainly an interesting town to pick because it's the recognized birthplace of the Marine Corps. We're going to keep hearing the Marines coming up throughout this entire story. We're just laying the groundwork here. Now, I should note, to be responsible here, that there are divorce-related documents that are available in Ohio online that we simply are not allowed to have access to. Like, people have privacy. That makes sense. So it's entirely plausible that they went in and fixed these glaring errors that for some reason a judge, we're supposed to believe a judge signed off on this many wacky different dates. But the point here is just to demonstrate to you how even the most mundane facts about Erika's life are frustrating to verify. And that's just an appetizer, my friend.
Samoa, you said, I don't know my anniversary, nor does my wife. We're working on number 5. We don't have time for that. What do you mean working on number 5? 5 kids or 5 marriages? I think you talking about kids.
Because then we received a very interesting email from Sweden. Yeah, my Sweden fans, what's up? What's up, Sweden? And it led me to even more questions about Erika's paternity. We are going to be right back after a break. All right, you guys, some good news.
All right, we're going to skip through these ads. While we getting through these ads, y'all go get you something to drink. What I'm going to say, you said, kid, you said, I love Candace. Girl is smart and doesn't miss a beat. What's up, Mama Money? You said Charlie Kirk. You said, what? They were not married. He's not dead. His name is not Charlie Kirk. He was wearing a synthetic face. That's a lot of bold claims, Cosmic. We're going to have to ask you to back up some of those bold claims. Now, I did see the hands. When Erika was taking them pictures and them hands, it didn't look like no real hands. I'm just saying. Oh, shit. They don't want to let me skip the ads?
Okay, so we obviously cannot go so far as to suggest that Lori, Loretta, Abbas, Stanley, Wallstad, Francevey was openly committing fraud. We can't say that. What we can confirm to you, however, is that if she was doing that, breaking the law and committing fraud is something that Lori's family is kind of historically known for. They kind of arrived into this country doing just that. You see, Lori Francevey, like I said, was born Loretta Abbas. She was named after her Syrian grandmother, Loretta Abbas. I want to sear into your mind right now that the Abbas family history is steep in gambling and casinos. All about gambling and casinos specifically. As we go along in this series, the history and the present of gambling casinos is going to become increasingly relevant. So let's bring in the OG Loretta Abbas, Erika's great-grandmother who died in 1990, who was just constantly being arrested for running illegal slot machines. Okay, she came over from Syria and she got to work bringing filth and fraud in Pennsylvania. You check out this article from 1941 where she testifies that she ran numbers. It says Loretta Abbas of Washington, Thomas Roberts, whatever, testified that they engage in the numbers business and had been arrested on numerous occasions. They explained their role in the numbers lottery without giving any direct testimony against the defense.
See, the thing about Candace is when people try to debunk Candace, a lot of times they've been ending up wrong, especially over this Charlie Kirk situation. A lot of people that try to debunk Candace have ended up wrong. Let's just start there. Now, when it comes to her seeing visions and just getting a feeling and she doesn't know and she just knows, that just is what it is. You know, man, fuck, man. Maybe she just thinks something. But the shit that she's putting out there and the shit that they're coming out and saying, oh, did she, man, she proved that shit. She proved that shit, man.
Okay, here's another one. We could keep going, but here's another article from 1944 where she pleads guilty to a lottery charge. It was before the court. She wasn't lying. She's always arrested on a lottery charge. The state police had a search warrant, and when they entered her house, they found a quantity of number slips. She was sentenced to pay the cost and $200 or 5 months in the county jail. Like I said, this was a family thing. Her husband was Mason Abbas, and he was magnificently fraudulent. I'm talking high-speed chases down the highway, lottery tickets blowing in the wind. Check out this article from 1935, and it tells us that he was overtaken in his automobile after a chase of several...
Man, you say you think Candace is insincere. I think Candace a little bitter. You know what I'm saying? Candace a little bitter, man. She's like, I truly believe Candace thinks that Erika was in on the plot to get Charlie up out of here. Now, do I think Candace is doing all of this because Charlie chose Erika over her? No, man. Maybe Candace did. You know, maybe Charlie Kirk did knock Candace down a few times. It's possible. You know what I'm saying? But I think they had moved on. But death is a wrench in the game. Now, death is a wrench in the game. She felt like Erika had something to do with the death. I think that shit up out of her. Now, if it was just, oh, he chose Erika, now she's getting, man, I think that Charlie Kirk might have beat that thing down 1 or 2 times back in the gap, man. And she truly thinks Erika got something to do with this man dying.
Several miles after he had failed to obey the officer's order to stop. Yes, Mason Abbas was arrested yesterday by County Detective Frank Krebs. Before an alderman, he was held for court in default of a $1,000 bond on a charge of conducting a lottery and was fined $10 and costs for refusing to stop when ordered to do so by a uniformed officer. During the race along the National Pike, which ended in West...
Man, she came through with the donations, the money being moved around, the slush fund, all of that shit's came out true. The sleuths went through the court filings and the whatever, the financial filings and found that shit was true. Him saying that he thinks they might be trying to get his ass up out of here. She showed them text messages. That Fort Huachuca shit that they was trying to discredit dude for, it's looking like that shit might be true too. I don't know, man. It's a lot going on. I don't just take everything she says at face value, but a lot of this shit, man, is coming out to be true, bro.
Alexander, Abbas is alleged to have thrown a package of 100 lottery tickets from his car. Officers recovered the tickets and are holding them as evidence. Yes, lottery, gambling, slot machine.
Oh, she also talked about the Netanyahu shit, remember? Remember she spoke about Netanyahu and offering the 100 and whatever million, and then Netanyahu ended up releasing his letter that he wrote to Charlie Kirk on Easter, or the letter Charlie Kirk wrote to him, the letter Charlie Kirk wrote to him and told him like, hey, you need to make your own Israeli network, do your own media, and I'm tired of getting asked these questions about this. I need to be able to refer them to y'all people and shit. So, I mean, but we got to put all this shit together, Blackie. We got to put this shit together, bro.
Again, steer that into your mind.
Hit the like
not
button.
Just on Erika's maternal side of the family, not just the Abbas side, but also the Swedish side, the Fransvej side. The Swedish side of the family, I will be clear, there's a notable difference. It seems like they've been involved legally. Carl Kenneth Fransvej is Erika's paternal grandfather. Okay, he participated extensively in horse racing. More crucially, though, he was an executive at the American Banknote Company in Illinois. This is the company that was responsible for printing lottery tickets. It's a big contract, a big deal. Here he is in a newspaper in 1974 doing just that. It reads, printing began this week on the first Illinois state lottery tickets. Up to 10,000 agents. It tells us at the bottom there that Kent Fransvej of the American Banknote Company, the printer, examines the first tickets of the initial press run. Let's stick with Grandpa Carl Kenneth Fransvej for a little bit because he is, by all accounts, obviously Swedish. Erika herself is therefore Syrian Lebanese on her mother's side and Swedish on her father's side. So something which struck me as immediately odd about Erika is just how deeply she identifies as Swedish, despite her public insistence that she was raised by a quote-unquote single mother. Think about that just from a social perspective. If Erika was indeed raised by a single mother, wouldn't you expect her to identify more deeply with those Lebanese Syrian roots, right? You might even understand it if she resented her Swedish roots, like my dad didn't do anything.
Oh, you said even if he did smash, he wasn't going to lock in with her at all. I think that was really her friend as far as she thought, but she really knows something is shady. My problem is she never put in this effort. Charlie Kirk couldn't marry no black woman. They're both at points of their career, especially with it being political, that they need husbands and wives. Charlie Kirk needed a wife. Candace Owens needed a husband. If you notice, they both kind of got swept up into their relationships. Well, for what Charlie Kirk was trying to do, man, he couldn't have no black wife, man. I'm gonna just say this shit. Don't nobody else want to say this shit, man. Charlie Kirk couldn't have no fucking black wife for what he was trying to do.
And so I'm not even doing anything with the Swedes. I don't even like being Swedish. To the contrary, Erika feels so deeply attached to her Scandinavian roots that in 2019, she moved to begin the process of obtaining her dual citizenship. She posted this herself, where she is, dual citizenship commenced. Okay. Maybe you're thinking logically, well, she loves her grandpa. I had a fantastic grandpa. I get that. I should mention she comes from a very long line of the Swedish Freemasons. She definitively was close to her grandfather. We know this because she posts about him many, many times over the years, referring to him affectionately as her morfar. Saw this over and over again. You just see posts of him on how much she loves him. She even mentioned her grandmother there. That's his wife, Elaine. And she says, she is my angel in heaven, but I usually call her Mormor. So that's her morfar and her mormor. Show you another post, just her grandfather, where she's going to talk about reflecting upon losing him in 2016. She's posting this, and she, again, is going to address him as her morfar. This appears to be another wrinkle. You see, I received a flurry of emails from our fans in Sweden about this particular post, and they did not like this post. And what they told me about it, they didn't like about it, made me reconsider things. Now, I'm paraphrasing, but they said, Candace, Erika is referring to her grandfather as her morfar. I was like, okay. So I looked it up. It means grandfather in Swedish. Like, maybe she doesn't, but it's cute. Okay. Maybe she's not fluent, but it's cute. And then they explained it to me a little further. They said, no, Candace, the Swedish language is quite literal here. Morfar quite literally translates into mother's father, morfar. And farfar quite literally translates into father's father. We have different words for these things. These have entirely different meanings. You would never call your father's mother your morfar. You would never call, that's what she's doing. She's calling him her morfar. That is Erika's farfar. If Kent is her father, her father's father is her farfar. She said, the woman emailed this, she said, no Swedish grandfather would ever allow you to refer to him as morfar if he was not actually your morfar, okay? If he was your farfar, he'd say...
All right. So she's talking about this morfar thing, and I agree. That shit is kind of weird, like the way she attributes it to like calling your grandpa your uncle. But I'm gonna say this: Erika's not from fucking over there, man. She don't know that. She's just trying to show that, hey, I'm Scandinavian a little bit, so she's typing that shit in, man. When she's over there, man, she's not calling that man her probably more far or far, man. She's probably calling that nigga pops, man. Paw, peep-paw, man. Straight up, man. But she wanted to show the world her Scandinavian roots, and she just kept calling him Marfar, man. She never did her damn research. She just didn't fucking know. And why didn't OG Peepaw, Farfar check her on that shit? Because she wasn't calling him that in his face. She was calling his ass Peepaw or something, man. Let's be honest. And where's she from? Like Arizona?
Say, very cute. I'm your farfar. Let's get that straight. This would be something akin to being someone's grandfather and allowing them to call you uncle. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. Words have meaning. So why is her very Swedish grandfather, so Swedish, this line of Freemasons, Masons Swedish, allowing Erika to call him my mother's father, Lori's father?
Because she's not doing that shit in his face, probably, honestly, man. I'm not on either side right now. I'm just breaking this shit down. Honestly, Chad. Honestly, man, his old ass, man, excuse me, now I ain't mean to just, man, that man is not on Instagram, man. That man is not on social media. She's posting this shit on social media, Instagram, all of this shit, man. He's not on there to see that shit, man. Ain't nobody, and then when she's around him, she probably calling him Peepaw, man. Let's be honest, she's from Arizona, man. They call folks Peepaw in Arizona, man.
What's going on here? This is an incredibly interesting wrinkle, which brings us to a point where we should introduce you to the family tree so you can just kind of see what's going on here, because this Morfar scandal troubles me deeply. Is Erika lying? Is she mistaking?
Man, I'm going to keep it real, man. This shit right here is some... When she gets to breaking down this family tree and shit, chat, this shit ain't nothing new to me. You know what I'm saying? I see this shit. But in the South, man, between Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, and Texas, man, you see some families that, you know what I mean, look commingling and shit. We just gonna call that shit commingling funds. You know, they keep that shit in the family to keep the money around. Chat, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I know a family right now, bro. They like 3, 4, 5 sister cousins and shit, man. I can't lie, bro. It's like 3, 4, 5 sister cousins and shit, man. Maybe that's what they had going on, man. You know, certain type of people live different, man. Shit's crazy.
Is she making a mistake at all, or is she accidentally actually trying to tell us the truth? Let's take a look at some other interesting tidbits. On March 21st of 2019, Erika visits with Charlie. She's in Jerusalem with Charlie, what is known as Zion's Gate in Jerusalem. She posts a picture with a pretty curious caption. It reads in part, meet Darla, a Romanian Jew that now calls Israel home. She was sitting by my family's dedication sign for restoring the Zion Gate in Jerusalem. Oh. What? Why is Erika describing the Zion's Gate as her family's dedication? Speaking of which, why does her one-time roommate, Nicole Rothstein, allege that half of their family, referring to her and Erika's family, is Jewish?
They sister
Doesn't make
cousins, man.
She also claimed that Charlie's, after Charlie's assassination, that Erika, she was online going back and forth with people, that Erika was her best friend and her cousin, Nicole Rothstein.
They was all, I'm going to say it like Moneyway said, chat. I'm already shadow banned, so we probably going to be shadow banned in a couple weeks. They all fucking. Candace, if you want Plug to explain this shit, Candace, why was she calling this girl that had no relation to her, that could have been related to her through some marriage and ex, whoever, man? They was all fucking, man. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Allegedly, they was all fucking, man. We see this shit day after day, time after time, man. The back door, the front door, man. The keys under the mattress, motherfuckers leaving work and shit, man. They was all fucking, man. Let's be honest, man.
I want to be clear, the Rothstein family, the Zion's Gate is their dedication. Cole wouldn't be lying if she posted that it was her family's dedication, but Erika? Also, how did Erika and Nicole Rothstein get so close? Remember, Erika presents that she was raised by a single mother on the Lebanese side. If Erika is telling the truth about her paternity, then Nicole Rothstein, I want you to understand who this would be to her. Nicole Rothstein, it's going to sound ridiculous, but this is the reality, if Erika's telling the truth. Nicole Rothstein would be Erika's father's sister's husband's previous wife's daughter's daughter. In other words, zero blood relation.
It don't matter. Listen, man, they thought it was going to be some relation, but when the baby dropped, it was supposed to be whatchamacallit, but it ended up being brothers. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of is what it is at this point. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. That's why her aunt, sister, cousin, twice removed daughter is calling her a sister, because she, at one point in time, Billy Bob went down to the grocery store and got a blow job from whoever. And in retaliation, Susie Mae went and slept with Earl John. Now it's all intertwined. They all fucking, man. Hey, that's my opinion, chat, man. Don't get mad at me. I'm just saying, it just sounds like they was all fucking.
Not even kind of related, kind of crazy. You would even call each other cousins. People do that. It's cool. It's my cousin. It's my cousin. Okay, cool. Erika goes a little further, though. Erika also posted a lovely tribute to Alan Rothstein, Nicole's father, online. She calls him Uncle. Uncle?
See what I'm talking about?
If Erika's telling the truth about who her parents are, to Erika, that would be her father's sister's husband's previous wife's daughter's husband.
But when he came around, he got treated like why? Because he was fucking somebody that was close, probably a sister or some shit like that. So yes, he's the twice removed cousin, uncle, or whatever. But when he come over here, he's uncle, whoever the fuck his name is. Why? Because they're fucking, man. Why is this so hard, man? If they kids, man, they gotta tell the kids something. They gotta tell the kids something. They can't be, man, come on, man. They gonna tell the kids the fucking truth, man. Really, they gonna tell the kids that all this fucking... The kids not that slow now. They hear shit moving around in the room and shit when they get up to get water. They hear that little clapping and shit. Like, what they gonna tell the kids, man? That's the uncle. That's the uncle. That's your uncle such and such. That's why he's allowed to stay the night over here, because that's your uncle. Whole time, it's somebody else just blowing some fucking back out, bruh. It takes somebody, it take a real one to tell the truth, though, to Jay. It take a real one to see through this shit, though, to Jay. Man, it take a real one to see through this shit, man. Thank you for the gifted membership, Tony. Man, it take a real one to see through this shit. Man, come on, they can't tell the kids that. What the kids gonna do? They gonna go tell. Now y'all call. But it eventually comes out over time. Some such and such done whatever, and now what? They calling each other sisters. They calling each other sisters now, right? Damn, Chad. Damn, knock my camera off. I'm keeping it too real, man. Damn, alarm going off and shit. I'm here keeping it too real, bro. I'm here keeping it too real, bro. Yeah, come on, bro. You say that sound out of character, man. That's what the fuck be going on. Man, ready 999, you must not be ready, man. You must ain't seen enough investigation discovery and shit. You must ain't watched enough enough ID channel or something, man. Enough hood stories, man. This shit going on, bro. This shit going on, bro. Come on, man. Why else would they be calling each other sisters? What's a logical reason? Let's just take all of the extra shit out. Why would these two girls be calling each other sisters? Why would these two girls be calling such and such uncle if he's really not the uncle? Because when he came around, he was doing some uncle shit. He was with somebody, and they had to justify him being with that somebody. So that's uncle. Keep on pushing that shit up.
Suffice it to say, again, absolutely zero blood relation, and yet Erika is extraordinarily close to him as well. Now, we can show you on the family chart just how removed this is. It's insane.
Allegedly.
Okay, but we actually couldn't even fit it. It's so far removed. So you've got her aunt, Carla, is married to a guy named Jack, but Jack was also previously married to somebody else, which you see there named Edna. And this is Edna and Jack's line. This has nothing to do with Erika Fransve. Again, how did she get so close to these people? Why is she referring to them as her family and declaring that Zion's Gate, which is actually their family's dedication, which has nothing to do with her aunt Carla, why is she saying that that's her family's dedication? That makes no sense. I'm struck by this. We could imagine how it could make sense. Now, again, we're imagining here. We're trying to make sense of the things that Erika is saying. I could imagine a very easy way it could actually make sense. Her closeness to the Rothsteins, her dedication to Jerusalem, if and only if we take Erika literally when she says Morfar. Let's assume that Grandpa Carl is indeed her mother's father. That would mean, well, obviously, Lori's wouldn't be her mother. It would also mean that Kent, just by nature of him being a man, is not her father. We're looking for her mother's father. So we have to start looking at Kent's siblings that are females. That would give us only 3 options. We can bring this back.
I wasn't ready for that, Candace. You threw me off with that one, chat. I was just thinking it was a little, going on. A little, lead the key in the doormat type shit going on. Man, now you talking about, whoa, these might not be her people for real. Oh, shit.
Back up. One of Kent's sisters would be my first pick. Again, we're in conspiracy land here, but I'd go with Carla because she's married to Jack Solomon, and that is Jack Solomon's dedication. Carla wasn't even married to Jack until 2002. She just jumped in and was like, this is my whole family and my family's dedication. No. But if Carla, her mother's father, if her mother was Carla, actually it would all make sense. Solomon is the very man who financed the restoration of Zion's Gate in Jerusalem. If Jack Solomon was her father, then a
Oh fuck, bro! This just took a plot twist. They financed some stuff in the Holy Land, man. Like, whoa, this just and the plot thickens. Damn.
Rothstein would indeed be her blood relative cousin. But again, that's purely speculation. We don't have to go into speculation. Let's give you the facts more about Jack Solomon. What is factual is that Jack Solomon eventually marries Carla Ronsvay in 2002. And there are also...
Man, Ready 999, you talking about that's an abomination. They can't move like that. This shit is going on everywhere, every day. Have you not read the Epstein files? Have you not just watched TV? Have you never seen any reality TV show? It is going on. Man, listen, man. Listen, man. That's why people be not leaving the house and shit, man. Babies be coming up born and shit, and they be the brother baby, man. Yeah, your damn blood brother's baby, man. How the that happen? Calling his ass uncle.
also some other really interesting facts about Jack. Jack and Erika's mommy aunt, I don't know, Carla, live in Utah. He graduated from what is today known as Utah Valley University. He's very involved in the university. It was formerly known as Utah Valley State College when he graduated from there. He also created on their campus the Center for...
Man, I ain't mean to say the N-word. I've been trying not to say it. But I seen today that they said in the autopsy report that Epstein had an enlarged prostate, but he's on record saying that he had his prostate removed, man. Dude, I don't think he's dead, bro. I don't think he's dead, honestly.
Jewish studies. I mean, at the very least, you'd think with all of the money that he poured into that university, he might be able to call someone to get us more footage of Tyler Robinson. Or Carla. How about Carla? She's married to the man. She could have maybe, in my imagination, made it to the hospital when Charlie was shot and killed. I mean, why did none of them make it to the hospital? They're all so nearby. She still lives in Utah. This happened in their backyard. Their family has a lot of power at UVU. Why not Auntie Carla rather than Stacey Sheridan accompanying you onto Air Force Two as your husband's body is escorted to Arizona? Jack Solomon was also a professor at BYU in political science. He's the former director of the university's Jerusalem Center. He also served on the Center for Jewish Studies on the board at UVU. Zion's Gate, like I said, is his dedication. And if you're wondering how Jack got so rich, it's because back in 1968, Jack and his business partner, a man named Norman Vance, began a company called Advanced Patent Technology. That company would go on to manufacture slot machines. You got it. Slot machines. It's just amazing. It's like everyone is involved in gambling. Per his bio, in 1974, Jack gathered more than $5 million to purchase United Coin, the manufacturer of slot machines and the holder of a profitable Southern Nevada slot machine routes. In 1979, they announced plans for the Colorado Bell Hotel and Casino in Laughlin, Nevada, the first of a series of hotels to be built in the Las Vegas area.
All right, Tony.
They had a lot of power in that area. Where were they? I don't know. Interesting connection. I am marking that for all of the YouTubers who are interested in investigation. The gambling thing keeps coming up. And I guess, as me and Charlie used to say, the rest is future. We'll be right back.
I'm just going to be honest, man. I don't know what she's getting at with the gambling thing, man. They gambling. Shit, yeah, it's nothing to it. They're fucking gambling. They're the house, man. They getting money. They gotta finance this shit going. How the fuck else was they gonna finance? They're financing shit over there in the Holy Land, man. You went back and scratched the origins, and it's starting from some gambling money. Okay, that they're gambling, man. It is what it is, man. I don't know. I'm from the Bible Belt, Chad, and shit. I know a lot of people that be at the casino on Saturday and in the front of the pew on Sunday, man. Wednesday, they might go to Bible study. Thursday, they might be at the slides. What are we talking about?
Back after a quick break. All right, you know I'm going to tell you about Nimi Skincare because it is the only skincare brand that I've actually stayed
It ain't no mystery.
Titlelock.com. And
It ain't no mystery to me, man. Them casinos bringing in about 8-10 million a day. And don't see they getting money, Candace. If you talking about they want to investigate, the casinos keep coming up. I'm gonna let you know now. They was involved, probably getting money. Shit.
And below. All right, now for some fun, because remember when they were freaking out about me discussing time travel, me discussing specifically Project Looking Glass, the CIA thing that actually happened. They allegedly stole Sumerian technology to peer into the future. Well, you have to imagine my surprise when I began looking into Erika's early years. For some reason, I was under the impression, maybe you were too, that Erika moved to Arizona after her parents' divorce. So that would put her in Arizona after 1998. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt here because it's a minor wrinkle, but her
Oh,
parents.
she's not from Arizona. Where is she originally from, Chad? Because if she's from like the Midwest or the damn South, she was definitely calling him Peepaw. For sure.
Didn't divorce until she was 10. But it's totally possible, like when you're a kid and your
Paw,
parents
paw,
are
Peepaw.
separating many times before they get divorced, that you associate a divorce with a separation. Anyway, here's the true timeline. Erika was in Cincinnati, Ohio for daycare in 1992. She attended a place called Walnut
Yeah, so shit, she's from Midwest. Yeah, she was definitely calling him Peepaw, Paw Paws.
Corner Children's Center in Cincinnati, Ohio, located inside of a massive corporate building. Oddly, the filing for that daycare doesn't have a floor number, but I can show you this photo of her at daycare. LOL, by the way, to her being dressed as a little bee and accidentally throwing up some Freemason hand signs. That's just like a nice ad. She looks adorable. Thereafter, she moves to Arizona and she attends a school that they have virtually tried to wipe from public existence. Now, it's very difficult to explain this unless you're in the weeds, but there is another school by the same name that goes on for a little bit longer. But this particular school came to fruition when a man named John T. Goley incorporated Educational Alternatives up in Minnesota. It was called Educational Alternatives Incorporated. Now, John T. Goley was a big guy. He had formerly helped launch Roundup Monsanto, just a little bit of government poisoning you, giving you a bunch of cancer. This time, though, he was pioneering charter schools in America. He teamed up with the Walton family, the Bush family. Yeah,
Oh, they really get
everybody involved in this school that Erika's going to attend.
They got the Walton money, man. Y'all know Sam Walton died, split his fortune amongst his kids. They was all still in like the top 10 richest in America. And you got Bush. We know they had that oil money, didn't they? This shit crazy.
It's interesting. I don't know. Don't you want to go to school where the Bushes, the Waltons, and Monsanto is
Damn
getting
right.
together a school? I don't know. Want to send your kids? Anyways, he
If I didn't know any better, you damn right. Shit, man. To rub some shoulders, man. And get well off in life, man. The fuck we talking about, Check? Why are we? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's the Epstein files changed all of this shit.
John T. Goley and Jeb Bush went
Crazy.
on
You
to
can't
Good
even
Morning
want
America
better
to
for our
announce the
kids no more. Isn't it crazy that the Epstein files dropped and you sound nuts for wanting better for your kids now? Like that she just talked about an elite school. You got the Waltons in there, the Bush family, and it's like you look crazy as hell for saying that you would want your kids to be well off. What the world are we living in, chat? It's acting backwards, bro.
project. The schools would come to be known as Tesseract schools, named after the children's book, A Wrinkle in Time, a story about time travel. The protagonists of that book fly through space and time using a Tesseract to rescue their family from evil forces. It's a battle between good and evil using time travel. And it's about to get even more fun because when these powerful families decided to start the Tesseract school in Arizona, they began with a small school in Paradise Valley first. It is that specific school that Erika attended that is virtually impossible to come by many documents regarding. They needed a space for the school, and they decided they were going to rent the building that was owned by a Jewish school. Forgive my terrible Hebrew, but the school, I kid you not, was called Gan Yaladim Looking Glass School. It's like, I just love this so much. So Tesseract was put into a looking glass. I just think it's fantastic. I just imagine they thought I was like dropping some clues. I was like, why are they all freaking out about this episode about Project Looking Glass? They probably thought I had already known that she went to this looking glass school, this little elite looking glass school down in Arizona. By the way, Tesseract, the school itself, is exceedingly Jewish in terms of the administration. It was run by Jewish executive directors. The teachers are all Jewish. Obviously, you know me. I'm nosy. I tracked down the yearbooks. I mean, I was working really hard while I was off. And I can show you that Erika was at school. I don't have every year yet, but I do have some years, 1995 to 1996 in first grade, 1996 to 1997 in second grade, and 1997 to 1998, which is her in third grade.
She got a bob.
I gotta tell you, I am so glad that I found this Tesseract. I didn't get to time travel with it. I don't think I did. Did you think they saw me in the looking glass? How panicked were they when I said looking glass?
The little Billy Bob.
No, she's talking about Project Looking Glass. That's crazy. Meanwhile, they're down in Arizona, like naming their schools Project Looking Glass, like Looking Glass Tesseract. Put them in the school. I just love that. It was like an accidental troll. But what is very exciting about finding her at this school is that it unlocked a lot of important things that needed to be known about Erika's life and her connections. I mean, wow. Speaking to people who went to that school, the one in Paradise Valley, to be very clear, there's other Tesseracts. It got shut down. The one I'm talking about got shut down in the year 2000. And then other schools, because they had other schools, kept going. They changed ownership. But this one was there for a very small amount of time. I'm looking at the yearbooks, and there are some interesting players involved in this school that kind of went down for fraud, just robbing the piggy bank. It's like a recurring theme. We're going to stop here, though, for today, because that's a lot. I've given you a lot today to digest, and we should probably get to comments. It's just a lot, guys. There's a lot going on with that Tesseract school. We'll be back after a short break.
You said Candace's way of researching needs to be taught to you. It's really the way she delivers at this point. Like, her researching is pretty much just fact checking at this point, because her audience is so big. Like, once you get to that point to where, like, she had like 230,000 people watching her live today. Once your audience is that big, the info just comes to you. It's just about filtering the info and fact checking, man. Like, that shit's falling in her lap at this point, bro. I'm just gonna be honest with you, man. Like, she's not out there on any fucking Inspector Gadget with the magnifying glass anymore, man. She ain't gotta do that, man. She's got like 6 million followers, probably 10 million across all platforms, bro. That shit falls in her lap, dude. Straight up, that shit falls in her lap.
Just how deeply she 1997.
Answer some questions. Hold on.
He writes, I missed you, girl. It's been a long week without you. Got my Candace cup full and ready for this banger of a series. Go Max. Thank you so much. Blue Appetite writes, we all want a friend like Candace. When ish hits the fan, Charlie deserves the truth to be found out. And we all know you're doing everything in your power to get there. Go Max, Candace. The thing about the Zionists, they always are forecasting something. Why are you freaking out about an investigative series if your whole premise is she's just an innocent grieving widow? Don't you appreciate how stupid you look? You're basically saying she's not a grieving widow. Obviously she's not, because if you investigate her, you're going to find something. Like, are you guys just not smart? Like, you should be like, oh, interesting. Well, she's great. So what are you going to investigate? No, they're like, yeah. Pray for Erika. Someone's looking into her background. Pray. Oh, she will need your prayers. Her children need your prayers. They were doing that. Pray for her children. Why? Because she's at the office the whole time? Like, what was that? What was that freak out panic? When have we ever done anything to the children at all? Ever said anything? Of course, we want the children to be great. You should not be praying for the children because an investigative series is coming out about their mother who has chosen to be the CEO in her husband's stead. That's a decision that was made. Okay? So here we are. You want to be in the realm of politics. You want to be here. You want to be telling people who to vote for the future president of the United States in 2028 as you come out to Sparklers. Okay, well then put on your big girl pants. You don't get to play the role of a grieving widow when people want to know who you are, especially when you're telling lies. How about that? Can we just go back to a little bit of common sense? No, they have money. They got crazy money. They got casino money, I guess. Let me stop. I should probably get off here. Crypto writes, go Sweden. Yes, I loved all of the Swedish flags in the chat. That was fun. KPKP writes, my kids ran around the house screaming. We are listening to Candace. I just reflected at how happy I am to hear that on so many levels. Thank you, Candace, from my humble family to yours. We love you and your crew. Thank you so much. I love you guys too. And I love hearing that. The kids are watching the show. I hope I always keep it family friendly. Look, I brought up a children's book today, Wrinkle in Time. I'm family friendly. There we go. Colleen Dolan says, tell me they were allegedly involved without telling me. Trump inviting Erika to the State of the Union. Everything is fake and gay. Well, that was offered to us as an excuse as to why she could not answer. The first we gave her 10, then we reduced it to 4 questions for today's episode. And they were not like exactly cumbersome questions. It was basic questions. Why, if you grew up with a single mom, did you pursue your Swedish citizenship? Is your mother actually married to Larry? Is it a real marriage, or does she just use his last name? Like, just trying to be a little bit more precise, but we will just have to take her in terms of what she said. And we offered those other questions. Hopefully she will have them in time for tomorrow, those answers. Fergie writes, in my 10 to 11 years of experience in this fight, those who tell you that you are spreading disinformation and then they tell you that you hate are the exact ones that you should be following and that are over the target. Those who tell you that you are spreading disinformation and then tell you that you should hate them are the exact ones to follow, and they're telling you that you're over the target. Brittany Watson writes, yes, our investigative journalist, crime-fighting superhero is back. Kudos to you, Candace. You have the whole world watching, praying for you and your team's safety. Christ is king. Yeah, crazy. I've never seen it in politics. I'm not being funny. I've never seen it in politics. As ugly as it's been, have I ever seen people posting infant children because they're upset over a trail? That's crazy, okay? I can't stand Ben Shapiro, but I would never, ever, ever direct any person to post his kids, his family, to go after his team. Like, they're working for him. Like, it's a job. Oh my God, he wants to do content on kids. Oh, I'm going to blame them. It's so beyond anything I've ever seen. And fine, like, I'm happy because it's just that's gonna be gas in the tank. I promise you that. We'll go all year. We'll just be like, this is a never-ending series. This is the song that never ends. It just goes on and on. My friend, where my 90s kids at? Where my 90s kids at? That's us. We know what that is. We know what that's about. If you don't know what that's about, I'm sorry you weren't a 90s kid. You're on the outside of that one. Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Man, Chad, that was a pretty good episode, man. I ain't gonna cap, man. How do y'all feel about that? Let's see what TPV Sean had to say. When he dropped his 24. Let's see what TPV Sean said. I think Tyler Alvera went to a damn community in North New Jersey. He going viral for this shit too.
Ties to Israel, and new CEO Erika Kirks' direct connections to international orphan trafficking networks is missing, feared dead. She knew the risks, so she promised to check in every single day. After months of checking in, it's been several days of silence. No contact with family, her new workplace, or friends. Her family is frantic, sounding the alarm. An investigation is underway, but time is bleeding out fast. This isn't a cold case. This is live right now, and every hour counts. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the People's Voice Locals community to join our incredible community, support the channel, and gain access to exclusive and uncensored content. According to those on the inside, Turning Point USA is imploding, the paranoia is ramping up, and the body count is rising.
TPUSA is in hot water again, and this time it's because of the alleged death of a whistleblower that the feds are now looking into. And the timing is what makes this so suspicious, because all of this reportedly happened right after the whistleblower publicly accused Erika Kirk of running a scam tied to TPUSA donor funds
Damn,
and
who
merch
died?
sales.
We were among the very few independent outlets she trusted enough
Damn,
to
Chad,
hand
I
over
didn't
her
know
story.
somebody died.
A former Turning Point USA insider with raw, unfiltered access to the Arizona-based machine.
The audit wasn't some random paperwork thing. Charlie ordered it 2 weeks before he died. Full forensic sweep. Every account, every shell company, every foreign contract.
She laid it all bare. The paranoia choking the ranks. The fear that had taken root at every level of the organization. She knew exactly who she was dealing with. She knew the risks. And she said so plainly.
Hey, this
In her
all
own
religion,
words,
man. Fair
if
you.
I go quiet, they most likely got to me. She set up a system for a simple daily check-in with a single code word. We can confirm the system hasn't pinged in over a week. She made one thing crystal clear. She was not suicidal.
I am not suicidal. I actually like my coffee too much. My Netflix queue is backed up for months, and I've got plans. Big, boring, normal plans. I'm not the type to check out early. My car is well maintained, tires rotated, oil changed, brakes solid. No mysterious accidents waiting in the garage. I don't do drugs. Never have. I don't even own a firearm. Couldn't tell you the difference between a Glock and a garden hose. If they try to sell you some tale about me ending it all with a gun I don't own, or crashing my perfectly tuned Honda into a tree, laugh in their faces. Because that's not me. That's them trying to script the ending.
Her family is in agony, desperately searching, begging for answers. They've asked us to keep her identity shielded, not out of doubt, but to protect the investigation and avoid giving Turning Point USA any edge to sabotage what's coming. They suspect foul play, illegal
Man, what
activity,
is TPP?
and they're not alone in that fear. According to the family, the feds are investigating, though they won't confirm squat. And given the nature of their Charlie Kirk investigation, and the leads agents have been banned from pursuing, serious questions must be asked about their intentions.
We are investigating the recent Charlie Kirk shooting. We are following every lead except the ones my beautiful Israeli wife won't let me. She's actually so smart and found this bullet in the woods. It had a note on it that read, "It definitely was not Israel."
We're all pretty sure it was Israel, actually.
It couldn't have been Israel. Netanyahu tweeted 35 times in 48 hours, assuring us of that.
This follows the brutal purge at Turning Point USA. Mass firings, mandatory loyalty tests, and leaked videos that exposed the ruthless executive tactics used to crush anybody daring to leak the dirt. Turning Point USA didn't just quietly let leakers go. They unleashed a savage internal witch hunt. Axing staff suspected of spilling secrets about new CEO Erika Kirk, the Charlie murder cover-up, and those deeply disturbing ties to foreign orphanages that set off every alarm bell. The goal was crystal clear. Silence. Total unrelenting silence.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, I understand. I understand where you're coming
No,
from.
and I know you're going to keep saying that. I understand. Like, I know that.
No, I know.
And I know there's probably no magic string of words that I could piece together to procure some type of answer. But
Yeah.
I think on a surface level, like, I'm not going to walk out of here until I say my piece. Like, I mean, y'all know this. I just worked a series of 80, 90-hour weeks plus for Ampest.
Yeah, I think
I've
it's,
had no direction or explanation since we've come back. Our CEO has been assassinated. I've done nothing but bend over backwards for this organization to the point where I'm wondering if this is a prank.
it's not a prank. I would never do that.
So I'm just trying to understand. And
No, I understand. It's time to.
so do
it's
I
time
get to have a conversation with Dylan? Do I get to have a conversation with Justin or anybody or
Nope.
no? And there's no explanation.
Hit the like
until I'm
button, chat.
let go.
Subscribe to the channel.
Leave it all. You know, and you're going to keep saying a different direction, but I'm trying to understand how I've met multiple times with my.
We're going a different direction with the team, and I have to ask you to leave now.
And when the firings weren't enough, the real terror began. Turning Point USA insiders are reporting they're being hounded by private investigators who are showing up at ex-employees' doors, taking pictures of their homes, showing up at new workplaces, at restaurants where they're trying to enjoy their downtime. No badges, no warrants, just intimidation in broad daylight.
Can I ask you what legal service that is?
It's a
And who do they represent that would have any interest in?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm just a worker ant.
Yeah. All right, sounds good.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Okay. So what's up? What's the deal here? Are you trying to like come intimidate us or?
No, no, sir.
No.
What's up, Older?
Not at all. No.
No, not at all. I was asked to take pictures. That's it.
Okay.
That was it.
You're just asked to come and take pictures of the house that we live at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And you said your name is.
Yes.
What's your last name?
I don't give out my last
Yeah,
name.
you don't give out your last name. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, Chad. It's only certain regions in the country you can just pull up taking pictures of people's shit, man. I'm just gonna be honest with you, man. You got to be in a residential neighborhood or something, man. You get to going down one of them county roads, Chad. I'm just gonna be honest. You go down one of them county roads, get to taking pictures of folks' shit, man. It'll blow you down. It'll blow you down.
Okay, cool. So I have this all documented right now, and I'm going to report this to the police. I'm going to get your license plate as well.
As the probe into Charlie's death tightens around the organization he built with his bare hands, the paranoia is ramping up. Because everything the whistleblower told us in that first fateful meeting has come true. And Turning Point USA are running scared as the public turns against them.
As y'all probably know, TPUSA kicked off its Make Heaven Crowded 2026 tour at Harvest Church in Riverside a few weeks ago. Now, this entire tour was supposed to be about honoring Charlie's legacy and ushering in this great Christian revival. But from the very first event, it was clear that people were sick of Erika and her message. People couldn't ignore the irony of Erika standing inside the church talking about faith and revival, while chaos unfolds right outside the church doors.
Now I'm gonna keep it real, Chad. Them houses that be down them county roads, they like a football field away from the road, bro. So if you're in distance of taking a picture of their house, they gonna shoot you. That means you done passed a few private property signs. You done passed some shit that says I shoot first, ask questions later. You done passed a sign that says private property. You probably went through a gate. Man, they gonna blow your ass the fuck down, man. I don't know what they're thinking.
But here is where it gets darker. When we come back, the real reason Turning Point USA whistleblowers are being hunted down like prey. Millions of dog owners have been fed the lie that keeping our pets healthy is rocket science. jointspain.com/TP is mounting.
Turning Point USA, since Charlie was killed, just so you guys know this is a fact, has made more than $100 million. That is separate from the $40 million they made at Mar-a-Lago the other night. So since Charlie has died, that organization has taken in $140 million.
At the time, TPUSA had apparently sold over $40 million worth of Charlie Kirk merch, raking in another $100 million from their fundraising gala at Mar-a-Lago, which cost $10,000 per plate. A lot of people bashed Candace for those comments, but even those people have...
$10,000 plates, man. It's a fundraiser, man. I wonder, was that Argentina beef, man? Like, was that a seafood bull, man? Like, what did they put on that $10,000 plate, chat? I just gotta know, man. Like, was it holiday food? Was it some dressing and, sliced ham and turkey and shit? What went on that $10,000 plate? I know it was for a fundraiser, but I need to know what this 10 racks consists of other than my donation.
Gone silent now, because we've all seen how hard Erika has been pushing TPUSA, fundraising, touring, selling merch, and bringing in serious cash. Even her most loyal supporters are starting to wonder how much of this is about faith and how much is about profit. Once people started making those connections, it didn't take long for TPUSA's finances to also come into the spotlight, and the money trail led them down a very dark path. One of the private investigators looking into TPUSA's finances appeared on Candace Owens' podcast after making a disturbing discovery. According to him, Charlie had ordered a full audit of TPUSA's finances just months before he died. Why? He was scared that some members of his team were skimming off TPUSA donations. This investigator found it odd that Charlie died just before this audit was ready, and the new management, also known as Erika Kirk, never made the audit results public. What was even more interesting was that, according to the investigator, somebody at TPU...
Man, I know what a fundraiser is. I'm just saying that for $10,000 a plate, we're talking about me here, plug. We're not talking about the people that was there. Me, when they asked me if I was a millionaire tomorrow, bro, if I was a millionaire tomorrow, and they invited me somewhere and they said we're doing a fundraiser. We're selling $10,000 plates for this fundraiser. Nigga, I'm still gonna ask what's on that plate. I don't care, bro. Like, I'm not gonna, man, what are we talking about, bro? Like, I still want to know what we eating, man. Like, what's going on? Is this gonna be steak? You know, I'm allergic to certain shit now. Like, what? I need to be accommodated out this motherfucker for 10 bands, bro. I'm just gonna be honest.
USA failed to file all the proper tax documents for one of its companies, which raised many red flags. And get this, Charlie's suspicions coincided with the time insiders say Erika started taking a more active role in the organization.
I will repeat for clarity. Someone at Turning Point decided not to file 3 of the 4 of their annual...
You said I'm buying the plate, not the food on the plate. Listen, if I have to eat before I come and I'm spending $10,000, man, y'all might as well just take my donation through the fucking wire transfer. I might as well not even show face. If I gotta eat before I come, $10,000, man, plate.
financial statements 4 months before Charlie Kirk appointed a new COO, requested a new audit, and was murdered.
But here's the thing, when Charlie died, Erika didn't just inherit his estate, which is worth over $10 million. She also inherited his multiple businesses, the CEO position at TPUSA, which pays around $400,000, and over $10 million more in donations from TPUSA fans. So on paper, there's no real reason to believe Erika would be scamming TPUSA fans or trying to silence protesters. That is, if she truly had nothing to hide. But then came the leaked footage that changed everything. It's not...
Like, I'm not saying that the plate needs to have $10,000 worth of food, Chad. Like, I understand that, but I need to know that I'm gonna leave here with that was a damn good meal. You know what I'm saying? I need to know that. Like, I can't leave there like picking through the food and shit, or like what is that? Or I'm not for all of that shit. I just spent 10 bands on this plate, dog. Like, I don't give a man. If you got Bitsy and that motherfucker cooking a Christmas dinner, I'm okay with that. But I'm okay with that shit. I'm a millionaire. I just spent 10 bands on Aunt Bessie's famous dressing and turkey and ham and shit and the greens and cabbage. I'm cool with that. But if I go in there and y'all got some fucking tofu, little squares and shit, or some baked salmon with lemon on it, man, that ain't got a lick of seasoning, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be pissed, bro. I'm gonna be pissed, bro.
Not clear how Candace Owens got a hold of that clip, but it exploded when she released it on her platform, because in it, you can hear Erika...
Man, y'all too good for me. You talking about you not there for the food is the point, man. Listen, y'all too good. Y'all too Hollywood for me, bro. I don't know, bro. Y'all too Hollywood for me. I don't care. Call it what you want. Y'all too Hollywood.
Erika giggling and ecstatic about how much...
Like, man, listen, I was talking to my partner the other day, and they was mad. They was upset because the food at the funeral wasn't good. And y'all mean to tell me that y'all looking at me crazy for spending 10 bands and want to know what I'm getting to eat out of it? It's an added, man, listen, if I buy some tickets somewhere and it says it comes with a fucking meal, I'm going to want to know what that fucking meal is. What? This should say food accommodated. What kind of food accommodations, nigga? What are we talking about?
Money TPUSA was making from merch sales in a company meeting.
I think we're at like over 200,000 for merch sales. Don't quote me on that because I think it just keeps like bumping up like crazy.
Now, this meeting was held just a few days after Charlie died, so people expected her to still sound like she was grieving. Instead, she went on and on about how they had just pulled off the biggest event ever and how much their fan base was growing.
The fact that we were able to pull off an event of the century, like, it's just insane. We had over 275,000 people that attended, and stadium.
At some point, she even mentions Charlie being dead, as if it were just some fun fact that everyone was supposed to get over. Erika clearly didn't expect that call to ever be recorded, let alone shared on social media, because she didn't even try to put on the grieving widow of a martyr act she uses in her public speaking events.
Anybody who found that surprising should check themselves. This
Thank
is
you,
the same
Big
grieving
Meech.
widow who said Charlie's death was tough, but people criticizing Israel is what she can't stand.
Hate is hate. It's evil. Charlie and I have always been very clear on our stance. Israel, Jewish people. It's awful. Awful. Anti-Semitism is what healing factor comes out of hating Jewish people? What healing factor comes out of hating Christians? What healing factor comes out? Hate in general, nothing. We've been to Israel twice together. And to be able to walk in the place where our Lord walked and see the Bible come to life in Technicolor. How could you hate that place? How could you hate the Jewish people?
Before his death, Charlie turned down a massive deal with Israel to push their propaganda. He turned it down on multiple occasions, including in the Hamptons just weeks before his death. According to those on the inside, Erika took that deal. Now anybody who exposes the truth is risking their life. We'll keep you up to date with news of the missing whistleblower. We'll release more information when the family allows it. Until then, please pray for her safety. And remember, everything we're dropping here is the kind of material that gets hard drives wiped, servers torched, and people suicided before breakfast. If you're doing your own research and digging into dangerous topics online, you need to be protected. Legacy VPNs? Forget it. Proton is literally funded by the WF and the EU. Let that sink in. Express, Nord, Surfshark, they all keep logs, they all cave to warrants, and they're all headquartered in 5949 countries that will hand your IP over faster than you can blink. You need something that can't betray you. That's
All right, man. That's all TPV Sean got for today, man. Let's see. What the hell is this? I'm talking about. That shit is crazy, chat. That shit is crazy. But yeah, we got shadow banned chat because I was playing them damn fight videos. I gotta quit doing that. Alright, chat. Y'all double tap the screen, shut it live out, man. You said, what was he going to say? He promoting a VPN.
VP.net, the world's first trustless VPN. No central service they can raid. No logs they can seize because there's nothing to seize. It runs on blockchain nodes spread across thousands of independent operators. Even if the entire US government demands your data, there's no...
Yeah, that's what he was that's what he was promoting right there. I'm trying to see, chat. Hold on. Let's see what we have. All right, here we go. Y'all double tap the screen for me, chat. Hit the like button, man. Get us back in the algorithm, man. How do y'all feel about the Erika Kirks situation? I don't feel like her getting probed into is as big of a deal as people are making it seem. Now, some of the claims are
The first
kinda
duty
crazy.
of the American
When they
government
get
is to
backed
protect
up, it's like, I mean,
American citizens, not illegal aliens. Blocking the removal of these.
What
oh
is
yeah, they
America?
was tripping.
It's
last
whatever you want to be.
That's an act of treason. If you can't even pledge allegiance to your own nation, that's a total act of betrayal.
And for people to characterize you as a
Was that
criminal or an
swimmer?
illegal alien, it's just wrong.
It's absolutely disgusting.
This was one of the last conversations that I had with Charlie Kirk. Excuse me, did you just like groan?
Yeah, I said, God help us.
Andrew was obnoxious, entitled, spoiled, greedy, and he thought was untouchable. I think Andrew has brought the royal family to its knees. I think the royal family are in crisis.
President Trump delivered the first State of the Union of his second term as a deeply unpopular leader, at least according to the polls. But he didn't sound like a man on the back foot, and he didn't give any indication he's about to change course.
I think this State of the Union address was certainly a mixed bag. I think from the State of the Union perspective, President Trump presented a wonderful vision of America. He talked about the tax cuts, what they're doing on energy. I would have wanted to hear a little bit more about what they're doing to get spending down, both from a deficit and debt perspective. I think when you talk about affordability in the economy, the idea of what DOGE was doing was something that really resonated with Americans on that messaging front. I mean, I know we've been hearing a lot about DHS, ICE agents, CBP funding. I'm glad that the Democrats have finally admitted that they literally just don't care about a border. I guess they view themselves as representing illegal aliens. I think that's really powerful. I know President Trump talked a lot about immigration, but I think if you look at this address from sort of a state of the Republican Party, state of MAGA, I didn't hear the word mass deportation. I didn't hear the word China. I would have liked to have heard both of those, and I would have liked to have not seen the administration, I think, continuing to make a mistake, which is going soft on the deportations, and I think critically failing to link the issue of immigration, legal and illegal, to the affordability crisis.
Brian Tyler Cohen, you know, the moment that would really concern me as a Democrat, I think, in terms of something that could be used against the Democrats over the next few months up to the midterms, is the moment when Donald Trump asked the assembled gathering to recognize Anna Zarutska. Now, she obviously is the mother of the murdered Irina Zarutska, this young Ukrainian who was murdered in brutal fashion on a train in North Carolina last year. And this is how this played out.
Set free to kill in America came in through open borders. Mrs. Zarutska, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina.
Now, I should preface this before I come to you, Brian, to say that Trump was inaccurate when he said he came through because of an open border policy. In fact, the killer of Irina Zarutska was an American citizen, born in America, lived in America. So he didn't come through an open border. However, and I think it's a really important however, the optics of that were awful. If you're looking at that and you see the mother of a young Ukrainian woman, and you've got a lot of Democrats, by the way, wearing Ukrainian, you know.
I thought that was this swimmer girl that's always on there. You know, the one they got, they always say fifth place. I thought that was her.
L badges and things to support the 4th anniversary of the war and support Ukraine. If you can't get off your backside and just show her some basic human respect, it's a terrible optic for the Democrats and an illustration to me of just how partisan and tribal the State of the Union's become. The Democrats would have done themselves so much good if they had all just risen to applaud her. Why didn't they?
Look, I don't know why they didn't stand and applaud. I think that mostly they don't want to be pawns in Trump's attack, in Trump's, you know, they don't want to be props or pawns in Trump's effort to
Candace's first episode of The Bride of Charlie. It really, the trailer made you think it was going to be just like a documentary style, but it's more of her monologue podcast. But it was a pretty fire episode. I ain't gonna care.
But turn this into a 2024 campaign redux where he just, you know, fearmongers about immigration or any of that issue. I think Democrats don't want to allow Donald Trump to make them turn into those kind of pawns. But more broadly, I think that I don't want to overstate the importance of the optics of the State of the Union. I think we all know that for people who are focused on politics, it's a big thing. And for regular people, it's not a big thing. And it usually comes and goes in a day or so. But I think more broadly, I mean, when looking at how Trump tried to frame all of this, he was more focused on trying to run back a 2024 election redux as opposed to talking about what people are contending with right now. In your opening, you mentioned how that is a dangerous spot for him because he's not focused on the issue that the vast majority of Americans are focused on. So he can try and reframe the conversation as something about immigration. He can try and frame it as something about, dangerous illegals like he always does. But that's not what Americans are focused on. Americans are focused on the one issue that he is pretending he's doing great on. And as we all know, that didn't really work out too well for Joe Biden and the Democrats in 2024.
We'll come back to the panel in one sec. Just going to be joined briefly by Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. Thank you very much indeed for joining me back on Uncensored. What was your view of the speech last night?
I did think that this was a very successful speech by President Trump. The State of the Union is always lively in one way or another. But also, I would like to contrast what some of your panelists there are saying. Mr. Cohen is saying that President Trump is focusing on the issues that Americans are not. I would argue that illegal immigration and legal immigration are part of the affordability crisis that we are seeing in America. Under Joe Biden and the one-party Democrat rule, we had open borders that have absolutely decimated our economy, overrun our schools, overrun our hospitals, and is really siphoning and stealing so many hard-earned tax dollars that Americans are forced to pay each and every April 15th. So this is an issue that is focused on affordability. President Trump came in and secured the southern border. No illegal aliens are coming in, and he's working to deport those who are overrunning our system and who are committing fraud. It is a crime to be here illegally, and then on top of it, commit fraud to reap the benefits of the American taxpayer. So this will make things more affordable when we start getting these people who are taking advantage of our generosity in America and really overrunning these programs that are in place to help our most vulnerable.
Okay, so let me just do a quick Q&A with you.
Well, it's kind of like this, lady. The border crisis is solved as of right now. Right now, we're going through deportations trying to get people out. The border is closed. So as an American, understanding that the border is closed, it's time to get on to some other issues. Yes, we do not need to forget about the border. We need to keep the border closed. But we need to talk about affordability in other ways, because this shit's not moving the needle right now. Honestly, man. We got, 600,000 more houses on the market than buyers? We went from a damn seller's market to a fucking buyer's market overnight. It's fucked up right now.
What is inflation?
Well, inflation is when the price of things is over is too expensive because of the federal government really squandering the tax dollars. So you have the Green New Scam, hundreds of billions of dollars spent there to provide affordable energy, and it was not affordable. It was never free. It was never discounted.
Okay, yeah.
That money was taken from the American people and forced into the system. It wasn't a free market.
Hang on. Yeah, so my follow-up question was this, though. We both agree America still has inflation. We both agree that means prices are going up. And it seems to me the big problem President Trump has is that, notwithstanding that the US economy is in pretty good shape, the average American knows that prices aren't actually coming down. There's still inflation. They are still going up, not at the same rate they were going up, but they are still rising. Do you think that is a problem here for the president?
There is a saying that Ronald Reagan presented saying that there is no such thing as a temporary federal program. There's nothing more permanent than a temporary federal program. And I think that same principle applies here. Yes, there are places that we had to raise prices to deal with this inflation under the previous administration. And it's hard to get those prices back down. And many companies, many small businesses are still trying to recoup from that. But also, we still have a federal government that is spending far too much money. That's why I was a big supporter of the DOGE cuts. And we did not cut near enough of what we could have. I think it would be great in the next term if Republicans keep the majority to have Elon Musk as Speaker of the House. That might be our only shot to actually cut spending. But this is a problem that we still have got to get under control. But tying that with the amount of people who are committing fraud, you heard President Trump mention the
have Elon Musk as the Speaker of the House. Y'all said this the woman that didn't graduate, right? Elon is the Speaker of the House.
the Somali pirates in Minnesota who are gouging our federal programs and those tax dollars. There is tens of billions, potentially hundreds of billions of fraud throughout our country with these Leering centers and so many other programs that are meant to help Americans who need assistance, and they are just rife with fraud. So there are issues that we need to tackle. President Trump is working to secure energy dominance, which will certainly help our economy. The tariffs were a great start at starting to bring in money and tackle the federal.
Listen, man, Elon don't give a fuck about us enough to be Speaker of the House, man. I'm just saying, Mike Johnson, man, he might not give a fuck either, but man, Elon is Speaker of the House is a little crazy, bro.
Federal government's debt issue that we have. But this has always been a priority for me to cut spending and to be a good steward of the American tax dollar. Yes, prices are still high, but also look at some of the states where prices are high. In Colorado, there are so many regulations and fees. A fee is a tax that the citizens do not get to vote on, but it is forced upon them. And all of that makes it too expensive to live. We have multi-billion-dollar companies who are leaving Colorado and going to states where it's better to do business. And I've even had energy companies in my office just as recent as yesterday saying that the only way they can avoid double-digit rate increases is if the federal government helps stop the regulations in Colorado. It's some of these state policies that are still hurting Americans and making it too expensive to live and unaffordable. President Trump is trying to make the affordability a possibility.
Just finally, Lauren Boebert, if you were advising President Trump about how to try and avoid what many people think is going to be an inevitable beating in the midterms and losing the House, probably not the Senate, but losing the House, which, as everybody knows in American politics, pretty much turns you into a lame duck president after that. What would that advice be?
President Trump needs to continue doing what he's doing, but I would focus my remarks to the Speaker of the House and to the leader of the Senate, the Majority Leader, John Thune, and say we've got to.
That's why she wants Elon to be fucking Speaker of the House. She doesn't like Mike Johnson. Okay, I get it now, lady. Like, fuck Mike Johnson, just put Elon in there.
Start codifying what President Trump is putting out from the White House. If we do not codify those issues, if we do not end the standing filibuster and have the filibuster and have a standing and speaking filibuster, then President Trump's term is over. So we have got to do our job in Congress, but also we have got to pass the SAVE Act. Democrats cheat. There's so much fraud in our elections. I believe that this last election was too big to rig. And I don't know if we're going to have that same enthusiasm now that we do have a secure southern border, now that the economy is starting to get better. There isn't that drive and motivation from average Americans to get out and vote because President Trump has had these successes. So I'm afraid of apathy, or folks saying, well, it's not as important because that issue is gone, and them not showing up. So we've got to pass the SAVE Act. We've got to do our job in Congress to codify and make law what President Trump is doing in his executive orders. And we have got to secure our elections. And so they cannot be rigged ever against one party.
Lauren Boebert, I really appreciate you coming back on Uncensored. Thank you very much.
Yeah, get her the hell up out of here, Piers.
Let's go back to the panel. Ras Baraka, welcome to your uncensored debut. You're the Democratic mayor of Newark. It seemed to me that the two moments, if I was a Democrat, where I would...
He in Newark, New Jersey. Yeah, he's in the fucking trenches, Chad. He's in the trenches, man.
In the morning, be wincing. One is the one I mentioned to Brian, where I thought it was really reprehensible of Democrats to not stand up and show some respect to Anna Zarutska. But secondly, of course, this whole moment that Trump clearly set everybody up for, specifically hoping for the result that he got, which was a question. And it's a question I'll just ask you as a question, which is, do you believe the first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens?
I think the first duty of any elected official is to uphold the Constitution of the United States and uphold the Constitution of the state that they're in. That's what we swear to when we do our oath, when we are sworn in any form of government at any level, to uphold the Constitution. And the Constitution clearly defines how our behavior is and how we should act, and who's protected. And everybody's protected based on our Constitution, based on the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, based on the 4th Amendment, based on many amendments. It's very, very clear who should be protected, and that's everyone who steps foot on the soil of our country. It's clear.
But that's not with respect. With respect,
everybody.
Mr. Mayor, with respect, that's not answering my question. The question is actually
what the fuck is he talking about?
Well, it's a very straightforward
but do you believe
answer.
Okay, but the actual question is, do you believe the first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens? It's not a difficult question.
It's not difficult. I just don't agree with the context. So you're not going to force me into that context. First, I don't believe that people are illegal aliens. I think that all people are human beings, and as a matter of fact, being
what if you're in the country illegally?
Being undocumented in America is a civil offense. It's not a criminal offense. And I'm sure the children that they're arresting are not selling fentanyl, are not head of cartels, or any of that matter. So it's silly to even have that discussion. But ultimately, you asked me what is our primary duty, and I said my primary duty as an elected official is to uphold the Constitution of the United States. Should we protect residents and citizens of this country? Absolutely. No one would agree with that. But to break it down and make it divisive in such a way that there's some people that should be protected and some people that should not, it's just wrong. That's not what the Constitution states. And when I was sworn in, it says clearly that I should uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of New Jersey.
But people who are in the country illegally, are there illegally?
There have been people in this country whose status have been taken away. And the interesting thing is when everybody comes into the United States, they don't come into the United States as a citizen. No one comes in as a citizen. Not in the history of this country. You don't become a citizen, then enter the United States. That's not how it works. You come here first and then apply for citizenship and go through a process, which usually takes, unfortunately, a very, very, very long time because we do not have a streamlined process, a unified and uniform process here in this country. And which means that anybody that is going through that process could be deemed at any point violating some kind of policy, some kind of law, and be detained, whether you're 25, 35, 55, 65, or 10 in this country, which is incorrect. And for people to characterize you as a criminal or an illegal alien is just wrong. I'm sure your ancestors and the ancestors of the folks who came before you, who came from countries in Eastern Europe and Western parts of Europe and Southern Europe, who showed up here on the shores through Ellis Island and went through the process to become citizens, if they were stopped in the middle of that process, in the middle of their hearing, and arrested and dragged through the streets and thrown out of the country and deported, people would think that was wrong then, and I think it's wrong now.
Okay, Riley Gaines, your response to that?
Yeah, well, I guess just to provide a little color to that, my husband is a legal immigrant. He came to the United States from England back in 2018. He did everything the right way. I would describe my husband, I guess fully Brit, although now has his green card in the process for citizenship. I would describe him as more American than a lot of Americans who are currently citizens. He loves this country. He understands the freedoms that we have. He sees the trajectory of England, quite frankly. He is so grateful to be here. To your point, I do think our legal immigration system certainly needs reform. I think that process needs to be sped up and made more efficient. But my husband, he respects ICE officers. And President Trump, the address that we heard last night, you have to acknowledge the things that he said are the things that he campaigned on. It's the things that we voted for. So in talking about mass deportations or closing down the border, 77 million Americans turned out to the polls in November of 2024. That's what we voted for. So to see an entire political party, I mean, in terms of elected representation and even how the mainstream media presents itself, who is totally unwilling to concede in any form or fashion to the point where they're not even able to say that their main priority is to protect Americans. I don't understand how that's not a disqualifying statement by, again, federally elected members of Congress. It seems to me as if that's an act of treason. If you can't even pledge allegiance to your own nation, that's a total act of betrayal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, do you think if you're in the country illegally, you've committed a crime?
In terms of being here illegally, I mean, as the mayor said, there are civil offenses versus criminal offenses, and I think that conflating the two is a major issue. I would respond to Riley's statement before. I don't understand what is with this conservative movement to qualify somebody's Americanness. Who are you to say that somebody is more or less American because of their adherence to certain political issues? Isn't that inherently un-American?
I guess my question for you is then just that: what is an American to you?
Here we go.
It's whatever you want to be. We have freedom to do,
that
to believe in, to say, to practice whatever religion we want to. And so
if it's whatever you want to be,
for you to say, "Oh, my husband is more American because he salutes the flag and likes ICE officers." Who are you? Who is your husband to determine whether somebody is more or less American because of who they?
I ain't gonna lie, now. I ain't gonna lie. I was thinking that, like, hey, man, you just say he's from Britain or somewhere, bro. Like, how the fuck is he more American than just most Americans? Still, like, she didn't just say he's more American, than, I would think. She said he's more American than most Americans. What the fuck? Bro, what? He's more British than more American. What are we talking about?
If your definition to what is an American is anything you want to be, whoever says whatever they want to be can be an American, which is the exact same answer you guys give to the question, the very dreaded, controversial question of what is a woman, then are you saying that someone who currently resides in South Africa, who has never even been to America, who says they are an American, I guess by your definition,
this is such a bad faith reading of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
My question for you
but that was
is,
your exact
you just
answer.
said your husband is more American than somebody else because he supports ICE agents. So explain to me how supporting ICE agents makes you more American than somebody who doesn't support ICE agents.
My husband has fully assimilated to Western culture. He loves the freedom that we have here.
So it's assimilation. You have to assimilate,
I believe
otherwise
so.
you're not American. According to Riley Gaines, if you didn't assimilate enough, you're not American.
I think in terms of what it means to principally, I'm not talking about legally, of course, I understand the argument of you need your paperwork, you need to be a citizen to be an American. Actually, you know what? This was one of the last conversations that I had with Charlie Kirk. It was that infamous influencer retreat in the Hamptons. Excuse me, did you just like groan to that, Mayor?
Yeah, I said, God help us. I said, God help us.
I am entirely agree with you there. God, please help us.
Right.
One of my last conversations I had with Charlie Kirk was he posed this question to a room full of us in the Hamptons, asking, what is an American? And it left me kind of dumbfounded for a second because I didn't know, I'd never been asked this question. I didn't know how to answer this question. I never put thought into this question.
Right. You kind of overspoke, right? You should have said he has more American pride. That's what you should have said, and this would have stopped this whole argument. If she would have been like, I would say my husband has more American pride than the average American. Okay? Maybe he likes to fly his flag and, do what he likes to do. But when she says more American, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, lady?
But in thinking about it, yes, I believe my British husband is much more American than the people, the members
See,
of
that
Congress last
shit
night who
don't
couldn't
even
even stand
sound
up
right.
to applaud no tax on tips.
Yes, I believe my British husband is much more American than most Americans. What the fuck are you talking about? Lady, you're off your rocker here, man. Like, say he has more American pride, man. Like, I don't know, bro. This lady's off her fucking rocker.
Who couldn't stand to applaud a 100-year-old veteran who was being awarded a Medal of Freedom, or to applaud Irina Zarutska after being brutally and
So
horrifically and
the
graphically
good thing about
murdered.
being an American is that you get to choose what it is that you believe, your ideas. You could be a Democrat or
Kind
a
of like you get
Republican.
to
You have the
choose
freedom
what
of
it means to
speech,
be
the
a
freedom
woman,
to
right?
assemble, the freedom of religion. You can choose these things. You don't have to stand on one side or the other to be an American. People who
I agree with that.
refuse, that's called democracy. And people who are against democracy, in my mind, are anti-American. And what you're saying and what has been going on is anti-democratic, and so it's anti-American in my estimation. You cannot tell people that you have to agree with me, you have to believe me, and you have to follow
No,
me.
you're
in
not
order to
listening
be
to what I'm
Right,
saying.
Tony. That
You're
shit
not listening.
sounds
My
crazy.
husband loves America because we.
Like, man, I don't give a fuck if you frying chicken, making tamales, spinning pizzas, eating fucking what's that shit called, man? Them little bananas that come with the rice and oxtails, man. What the hoes called plantains. Well, fuck if you eating plantains, man. If you was born here, man, you are more American than this dude that's coming from Britain, bro. I'm just gonna say it, man. I'm just gonna say it, bro. Like you're fucking born here, bro. Like, and then you grew up here and you're born here. You're like, what? Like, we have a lot of people in America, man. I don't think she thought this one through. She should have just put pride behind it, and it would have solved it all.
We have the freedom to choose. He loves that we have the freedom to our religion. We have the freedom to press. We have the free. No, it is exactly what I said. If you would listen, I said my husband loves the freedom.
I mean, Riley, look, let me just jump in. Riley, I would say that in relation to him assimilating to Western culture, just to remind viewers, Britain is part of Western culture, obviously. So the assimilation is not enormously difficult because he's British.
Entirely, agreed. But I agree.
We are a Western culture. I don't feel like. I don't feel when I go to America that I'm part of. I'm entering some vastly different, cavernous new culture. Natalie, let me bring you in here. This whole debate about whether people who are in the country illegally are breaking the law. I mean, it is a crime. I'm surprised to see a mayor of a major city trying to suggest that it's not a criminal offence to be in the country.
It's not a criminal offense. It's not my suggestion. It's actually the law. The law.
And might I just
the law
add,
defines
Mr.
it
Mayor,
as
that
a
if you're
civil offense.
Man, listen, man. I'm probably like a fucking 7th generation from my damn state, bro. I see what you're saying, Islander, not born here, but I'll be damned if you let foreigners take your freedom of speech, man. Right on. But listen, man, I'm like 7 generations in the deep south, bro. Like, it's kind of crazy for her to say that shit, bro. It's kind of crazy.
Value that you care about is promoting and supporting democracy in the United States. A lot of these illegal aliens that you're importing into
I'm saying 7 generations in Arkansas. Man, that shit's crazy.
this country, the Democratic Party did for the last, I don't know, decades, what, 10 million plus under Joe Biden, aren't exactly coming from countries that even have democracies, let alone some of them actually aren't even countries. They're failed states, enter places like Somalia. I think we all know what happened in Minnesota.
Right.
I've never heard a more verbose and rambling answer to what should be probably the most simple thing that you could answer, that your primary duty is to defend American citizens. I've also never heard Democrats uncritically bring up, I don't know, the Constitution. I thought you guys hated that document. But here's the issue, and here's what I would say, Piers. Here's how I would reframe this entire discussion.
for
this
particularly.
weaponization of what it means to be an American, of immigration policy. We can all sit here and give our culture war definitions of what it means to be an illegal alien, immigration, legal terms, whatever. The point is, reason why people are fed up with immigration and illegal immigration is because it's not actually about immigration. It is a scam that big businesses, all these donors that are funding all of those candidates and congressional members that you saw sitting at that State of the Union address, they just want cheap labor. That's all they care about. I'm sure that's all your donors care about. And that's why you're seeing a degradation of American identity, so corporations can suppress the wages of Americans. You're saying, wow, you know what? Your party can't even stand up for Americans who are hit by trucks, by illegal alien drivers. You think you care about the affordability, the lived experience, the economic reality of Americans? You can't even stand for killed Americans.
You are repeating a false statement.
No, there's an illegal alien truck driver that hit a 5-year-old girl. An illegal alien hit a 5-year-old girl who was president of the State of the Union. I could sit here for hours and give you the name of Americans who've been killed by illegal aliens. But you know what? The point is, we don't just need to allow illegal aliens in this country because they're not criminals. They depress the wages. They destroy the culture of this country. There's too many people.
Yeah, I do see the hot semi trucks, man. It be whole truckloads of folks down in them semis, man.
Import tens of millions of people from other cultures, you no longer have a United States of America. Yes, you're seeing more than the GDP of Somalia be stolen from one state. You're seeing ethnic enclaves and Muslim enclaves happen in the state of Michigan. Look at Dearborn.
Yeah, I ain't
Dearborn
gonna
is
lie.
not
I ain't
America.
with that 5 a.m. call to prayer, man. On the neighborhood wide speakers, man. I'm just gonna be all the way honest with you, man. Like, man, I know the churches got their little bell that go off, man. But the 5 a.m. call to prayer is kind of crazy, bro. That shit's wild.
Erika?
The more she talks, the more racist it becomes. The fact that she's saying people come
No, I
from
care about your
countries-
citizenship.
people come from
American
countries
nationalism,
in her
economic
mind that are
nationalism
failed
is about
states.
maximizing the value
come
of
to
being
this
an
country
American
because they're
citizen.
looking for
And you know what?
democracy.
Obama
All right, don't
agrees
talk
with
over
you,
each other.
because if you
Tell you, Chad, that shit get to happening around me, man. I'm gonna get to knocking on brother man door, man. We gonna have to have a motherfucking neighborhood meeting at the corner store, man. We gonna get all the Muslims in there and all the niggas together, man, and white folks, and we just gonna sit down, man, and get this 5 a.m. together, man. Today, folks gotta work and shit, man.
look at the studies that Obama put out about wages, it's Black Americans who are the most negatively impacted by
Please
illegal
don't talk
immigration
over
when it
each
comes
other
to
because I
wage
can't hear
suppression.
either of you.
If you
Okay,
talk about Black
guys,
Americans,
stop
you would
talking
want to
over each
deport
other.
illegals.
I can't hear you.
Well,
you're both talking at the same time. The viewers
so I would like to
cannot
talk to
hear
just
either
I
of
was
you.
just accused
Let
of
me
being
ask
a
the mayor.
racist, so I'm defending
Please,
myself.
Natalie, let the mayor, Mr. Mayor, explain why you think Natalie's being racist.
Absolutely. I think that, first of all, everybody, the fact that you mentioned people are coming from so-called failed states, people come here looking for democracy because they don't have it, looking for economic freedom because they don't have it. They're looking for, they're running from situations sometimes that are deadly, right? And so they come to the United States for safety, for security, for democracy that we've advertised to the world. So that doesn't matter. There were people who fled other countries that were not all of these countries she's talking about now, years and years ago, who came here from Eastern Europe, from Western Europe, from all over the parts of the world. For her to identify Somalia, just like the President of the United States did, to me is racist. At the end of the day, there are immigrants who come to America from all over the world. They want to choose who gets to come here and who doesn't get to come here based on their nationality, based on the country they come from, based on the religion they practice, based on the language that they speak. And she clearly identified by calling it an ethnic enclave. This is ridiculous. To be able to create a country that is devoid of anybody else in the world except the people you choose, it is white supremacist to say that. It is racist to say that, and it needs to be pointed out. And they say it's culture war. The real culture war is the cleansing that these folks are doing, calling it immigration reform, when you're really just attacking Black and brown people on the streets and shooting people in the face who understand and see that and are trying to defend the democracy that this country upholds itself to be.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I just want to clarify one thing that's been rankling me since you said it, because I've just checked. You know, is entering the United States without authorization or inspection by an immigration officer a crime? Yes, First offence, a
It is a
misdemeanor,
civil
punishable by a
offense.
fine or up to
Right.
six
It is a
up to
civil
6 months in
misdemeanor
prison.
offense. That's what I said. That's
Well,
exactly what I said, Pierce.
Yeah,
I said it's a civil
but
offense.
it's not. It's still.
a misdemeanor.
It's actually a crime, though. It is a crime. Your reluctance to call it a crime is interesting.
If it's a civil offense, it's a violation. It's a civil violation as opposed to a crime as a criminal.
Well, there are other types of immigration violations which may be civil, but actually the offence of trying to enter without authorization or inspection by an immigration officer is a federal crime. And it seems to me that this is a fundamental tenet of the law, right? If you try and come in without authorization or inspection, it is a crime.
Well, we've acknowledged that it's a civil offense.
Did y'all see Trump at the State of the Union last night say, they need to stop the insider trading, and then ABC paying the camera to Elizabeth Warren, bro? That was some of the funniest shit all night, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. ABC is fucking petty for that, bro. Like, Trump said, you were gonna stop the insider trade, man. They paying the camera straight to fucking Elizabeth Warren, bro. I was like, oh my God.
It's the reality is there are people who are being targeted and attacked who are going through the process. There are folks that are being pulled out of hearings. There are people who have been outside of courthouses, finishing their hearing and being arrested. There are children who are going back and forth to school who are being arrested and detained, right? There are babies who are being detained and housed over periods of time. This has nothing to do with crime. In fact, as a mayor of a city, I can tell you clearly that if we solved for the immigrants in our city, our crime numbers would be extremely lower than they are now because most of the crime in our city are not created by immigrants. It's just not. In fact, they are more likely the victims of crime than they are the perpetrators of crime. And this idea that immigrants are taking money from cities and states is ridiculous. I mean, there are immigrants who not only pay taxes, but contribute to the economy daily by purchasing goods and services on the open market. It's very clear. And to say otherwise is just not true. It's not proven. It's not true. It's just a talking point that Republicans and conservatives use to kind of stoke fear and division, but it's just not a fact.
Okay, let me ask Brian Tyler Cohen. As we head to the midterms, let's move ahead to that. You know, this was a very sort of typical Trump speech. I thought he executed it pretty well, actually. And actually, for the first half of it was pretty positive, unusually, given his recent stump speeches and so on. But for the Democrats, the big challenge is going to be, well, who are you going to put up to actually win in 2028? And I still don't see that person. You know, Gavin Newsom, I just don't feel he's the front runner, but I feel like he's out there shooting his mouth off. He's getting picked off. You know, AOC, that whole car crash over the Taiwan question and so on. No one to me is positioning themselves as someone that I think can actually win that election. Am I missing the person? Do you see the person?
I'm not really concerned about 2028. I'm not really concerned about horse race politics. We have an election coming up in midterms, and frankly, if these off-year elections and special elections have shown us anything, it's that all of these Democrats in their respective races are quite effective at making the pitch to their constituents or their states, and we've seen the results. I mean, Democrats are overperforming by 12, 14, 16, 18 points. We've seen the Latino population shift 50 points in certain jurisdictions. And so I think that we get through one election, we get through these midterms, and I think, as I said, the Democrats are making a pretty effective case to their voters in terms of the fact that their priority is going to be taking care of their own constituents, bringing more affordability forward, and also they've been really effective at making the case in spite of a Republican Party.
Brian Tyler Cohen is the largest political commentator right now. He's like over the last year he's been like top 2 or 3, maybe 4, but lately he's been like number 1.
That has been doing nothing but lying about that exact thing for years and years and years. I mean, we saw Republicans do an entire 2024 election cycle where they promised affordability. And the second they got into office, what did they do? Launched a trade war that raised the cost of everything, cut healthcare, whether it's Medicaid for 17 million Americans or ACA subsidies for 24 million Americans, cut food assistance to the tune of $186 billion. I mean, we're talking about affordability. Republicans are ushering in the least affordable America that we've had. And then at the same time, thinking that Americans are going to reward them at the polls. They're not. That's why we're seeing these massive overperformances. I don't know what's going to happen in 2028. We've got plenty of time, but the election cycle that we have right in front of us is proving a disaster for Republicans because this is a party that is incapable of keeping their promises.
And can I add
I mean, Riley.
please?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Can I add to that? Yeah, because in New Jersey specifically, all of the things that the president talked about at the State of the Union about decreasing costs, all of these costs are increasing, whether you're talking about rent or housing or healthcare, the cutting Medicaid, healthcare costs increased in New Jersey over 100%. I mean, the inflation in New Jersey is higher than the national inflation. The definition of inflation that was said to us earlier was completely incomplete, by the way. But at the end of the day, all of these costs are rising for Americans in this country. So whether we could talk about all this other stuff you want to talk about, but affordability is the issue because they have not solved for it.
I agree. Yeah, you know, Mr. Mayor, I said this at the start when I was talking to Lauren Boebert, is the reason I grilled her about what inflation is a lot of people seem to think if the rate of inflation comes down, prices drop, but they don't. The mere fact you have any inflation means prices are continuing to rise. And I think this is the disconnect between the state of the overall US economy, which is actually in good state, and the polling on it is quite positive. But when you get to affordability and the trickle-down effect to average Americans, they're not feeling it because actually prices are rising. And this is the problem that Donald Trump has got heading into the midterms. Ultimately, as we hear again and again, it's the economy, stupid. If people, you can tell people till you're blue in the face, they are doing better. If they are not feeling it, and in fact they're feeling the opposite because actually inflation still exists, I think it's a real problem for him. And the problem for the Republicans, I'll come to you, Riley, with the same kind of question I put to Brian, but for the Republicans, is what follows Trump. You know, let's go forward to November, the midterms. Let's hypothetically assume the Republicans get a kicking, which is highly likely historically. Then Trump becomes, as every president would in that position of any Republican or Democrat, a lame duck president. If you lost power of the House, for example, your ability to do stuff is massively reduced. And then the scramble becomes, well, who follows this unbelievably dominant character in American politics and particularly Republican politics? You know, and you look at J.D. Vance, you look at Marco Rubio, you look at maybe one of the Trump children, whatever. What do you think? I mean, where do you see the future of the party after Donald Trump?
Well, in terms of President Trump being a lame duck president, to be totally honest with you, I think he kind of has been the past year. That's not to take away from some of his executive orders and things that he has done out of his office, which are fantastic. But the reality is there's not a lot of longevity there. Let's say someone like Gavin Newsom gets in the Oval Office in 3 years' time, then those executive orders are overturned just as quickly as they were instated. We have not seen Congress move or act to codify those executive orders. So I believe he's, in a sense, been a bit of a lame duck president as it stands. Again, not to take away from the accomplishments and the victories and the wins and the success that we have seen. In terms of the future, I think Vice President J.D. Vance has done a fantastic job of keeping himself composed and very presidential. Even watching him behind the president last night, I thought it was a very good visual. I've been to several State of the Unions or even President Trump's joint address to Congress last February. And I can think back to the time when you have Nancy Pelosi back there ripping the paper. We didn't see that theatric from the visual standpoint of watching President Trump in his speech last night. So I love the idea of seeing Vice President Vance as the president in 2028. But we'll see. I think, as you said, Marco Rubio has done a fantastic job positioning himself. And one more quick thing to add about affordability. I think President Trump, again, he campaigned on this, is letting families keep more of what they earn. And we have seen this, increasing the child tax credit. We've seen provided tax relief for small businesses and family enterprises, eliminating tax on tips and overtime. We've seen Social Security benefits and all of that stuff. So I do.
All right, chat, yo. I ain't talking about too much shit, man. We better get up out of here, chat. We'll be back tomorrow. Finna go grab me something to eat. I was gonna do a panel tonight, but we'll hold the panel off to the morning, chat. I'm double tap the screen, shut it live out. I appreciate everybody for pulling up, rocking with me. I'ma do some monologue, man. I know we just been streaming, kind of hanging out. I've been getting lazy on my monologue, but we've been shadow man because of those fights, and I really been trying to just fight through this damn shadow man. But it is what it is, you know, we're gonna keep showing up. But yeah, I gotta put some monologue together, man. I gotta go do my research on some topics where I can sit out and just shoot the shit with y'all about it, man. I'll see y'all on the next one, chat. Good night.